stream. And then let me see if it works properly on stream side before I get started. Okay, it says live. They should be seeing the thing that we're seeing. It should be fine. I might be a little distracted because I am trying to get my pre-con hits in. A little bit. I told my clan I'm hitting, and I'm like, oh, oops, I started the stream, and I said I'm hitting, and I totally forgot. Oops. That's my fault. Okay, time to download the files from REM real quick, actually. Totally forgot to do that for the new styles. Let's see. Style thumbnails. We have... download that one. Totally forgot. I haven't even download. I don't know if I have downloaded the new AB either. Huh. Let's move it over here. Should have done this before, but I was busy building that PC, so... it works, by the way. Yay! Just need all the other pieces before I get to actually actively use them. Okay. So, let's get started. Yeah. And we're going to... I'm going to make it so I can read both chats at the same time, as best as I can. Wash streamer. I am not a wash streamer. I'm just not a streamer. Straight up. So I'll copy this and we'll put it on sheet 38, my favorite sheet. Okay, sheet 38. So we are updating this, and we have some new things that completely kind of change how things work. As of recent, that I've not added in because how much she changes things. So, for now, let's add in those styles that have changed things. So, starting with Diva Duka. She has been a she's been fun. Let's put it that way. I think.
Yeah.
What?
Very interesting.
Yeah. We'll go over some like pluses and minuses, etc., etc. But overall, I think the main thing is she's really good, but you kind of have to start using your brain to play rather than like being mindless. Ever since her existence, as long as you cannot one-shot the enemy, mostly because she is a turn-based a buffer. And the thing is that if you're like me and you love testing new toys, you run into an issue, and this issue is that it's actually very hard to use turn-based like too many turn-based buffers, because if you want to use those turn-based buffers and you want to be able to land all your debuffs during OD, and most of your turn-based buffers need to use their buffs only on the front line, it becomes a very core issue on actually trying to land all your debuffs or landing all your buffs. So you actually kind of have to pick and choose. Which color was this? The middle one. So that is a very interesting trade-off, where she's actually really strong, but her main issue comes in is that you can't just mindlessly do things. You have to like actually start being very aware of who you're using, like when your buffs are going off, things like that. You can't just buff and then leave them for like 30 turns before you actually attack with them, and then their buff will wear off or something. You actually have to actively try to use them. It's kind of it's kind of interesting in that aspect. Is it better? I like it. I like the change, but the fact that AB had this, and then you kind of just had to figure out. I forgot which one was the name that we're supposed to use. Is it? Yeah, there we go. I keep forgetting if it was supposed to be Masami or Iwasawa's the first name or last name. Just like try to figure that out. But yeah, that's her main core issue I've found. Is that if, for instance, if Angel beats, they added more turn-based buffers. The main concern when I tried using them is if you use all of them, all of a sudden you can't actually use everyone's buffs if you want to land all your debuffs. You're kind of stuck trying to choose which buffs you can do, or you're trying to puzzle it in somehow, and it's not very good when it comes to that. So, for instance, if you were trying to run Yui and Iwasawa in your team, you're probably not using one of them as a buffer at all, because they just can't fit the buff into the rotation if you really want Ruka into your team, and you probably really do. So that's kind of your main concern off of that. So that's just like my little minor breakdown of Ruka. She is very good, don't get me wrong. She changed the game, just that you just have to understand that you also have to worry about other things now, right? You have to kind of see her as a buffer and debuffer at the same time. So, now that everything's up to speed, I'm sorry, I'm a washed up streamer, but we're gonna start off with the obvious.
Yep. Diva Ruka.
Diva Ruka, where does she stand?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
It's impossible.
Of course, I am not going to put her up here because her LB3 is just too good. She goes right here, right? Pretty simple, pretty solid. However, why I put off trying to place her where she needs to be placed is because we do actually have to go individually through this list again, because the priorities of who is actually more valuable will change because of what she brings to the table, which is really, really crazy. We're going to look at Yui next. So Yui can go to two places, actually. She can be seen as kind of your elemental ice buffer, or she can be seen as a utility support. I personally think that she kind of fits the utility support more, that rule. Like, when you use her, you actually use her for her utility than you do for her ice support.
Yep.
So she will go under utility. I will move these girls later. I need to move everyone first before these girls get fitted in. But I wanted to give a good breakdown. Should we get... This is from YouTube side, by the way. Should we get Admiral Aoi or Ruka 5? So here's the thing. From my experience, Ruka 5 is way more useful to me than Admiral Aoi is. The main reason is because Ruka will increase your damage by a lot, while Admiral Aoi is more of like being able to fit Aoi into any team, right? So you can actually use her EX1, which is very safe for free-to-plays. So Ruka 5 is kind of like your more aggressive choice, while Admiral Aoi is more of your like safety choice, but your damage like loss is very big if you don't do it. Like if you don't have Ruka. So if you actually had to pick and choose, I personally would pull more so towards Ruka 5. Now, you also have to note that Admiral Aoi will come at a time where it'll be very important to have her for the new rotating content. the reason why I say Uruka 5 is more important is because that rotating content has yet to come back. It's been like, what, 4 months? And has not come back.
Yeah,
So,
they're gonna take some advice on feedback and
yep.
then redo it and then run it
Yep.
again later. So
So,
they just need to revamp it a little
so
bit.
they're gonna revamp it. We don't know if they're going to, what's called, like, how often they're gonna do it. So, just
it's worth noting that
note
Diva Ruka
that.
is also very good in that content because of how turn-based buffs work
Exactly.
based on the waves.
Just note that if you do bring Diva Ruka into there, you are going to be limiting yourself on how often you can use her buff, and that's kind of the only concern you have. But there's a lot of ways to go around that. Just know that in that game mode in particular, Admiral Aoi is much better, like a lot better than than Ruka is. But with how rare that content is, I can't wholeheartedly say, oh yeah, I'd pick Admiral Aoi over Diva Ruka. Diva Ruka is just too good for me to say, yeah, I would choose one, or like I would choose Aoi over her. Now, does that make Admiral Aoi bad? No. Like, she's still really good, just that she feels a little behind because of what I mentioned before, right? Is just that she's good for a more defensive option and for faster OD. However, you will miss out on better damage. For most things I have been running, for what's it called again? For score attacks and end game content, I have been running Diva Ruka more. Now, if you're not free to play and you're a whale, right? You're gonna be maxing both of them anyways. And if you're doing one turn content, you'll be running Aoi more. I'm just gonna note that the whales will have more of a field day with Aoi than Ruka. However, for your general small players, it's the other way around. You won't have that going on. So just take note of that when you make that choice. Now, noting to Iwasawa, the most weird breaker, but they do this with a lot of AB anyways recently, with the AB2 and AB3, they have just like certain characters that do multiple things. So she's a breaker, who's also a blaster, who's also a buffer, right? Is she good? The answer, I mean, for AoE, by the way, she's also AoE. Is she good for like end game content? Probably not. Truth be told, not worth chasing. But she is interesting, fun in that aspect, and so if you want her, sure. Are you gonna use her? Probably not. I would doubt that you actually get any use off of her in general, but she is existing and she is still good. Just that she has really no place outside of being a main damage dealer, and even then, she doesn't do that job the best. Akari is very interesting, but I would note that she's mostly built to sell Risa 3, in my opinion, and I think Red agrees.
Yeah.
The main reason is her passive. Let's go over that real quick. It's this right here. Negative Mind. Very interesting. So lowers damage dealt by 100%. Yeah, she deals no damage for 5 turns. She also increases damage taken by 100%. So make what you will with that. This is for 5 turns. So for 5 turns, she is absolutely like worthless. Granted, she has a passive, which every single skill that she does will automatically come with a hit count buff of 5, which is really good. And this stacks on top of any hit count buff. Right? You just can't stack this hit count buff with itself. That's it, right? But this will stack with Diva, this will stack with Union, this will stack with everyone, right? This is your normal SP. And then this one is, as you see, removes buffs because this is what I mean. Her what's called her EX will remove buffs right from the enemy, and if it removes a buff, then she will fill up the gauge 50%. Very interesting. Probably will rarely see the light of day, but she's kind of fun. That's all you gotta know. Now, Lisa is the most interesting out of the bunch, in my opinion. She fills the healer slot, but she can also give Mind Eye, she can give Enhance, but with the condition that if she actually cleanses a buff, will she give that buff? I mean, a debuff, will she give that buff to the whole entire team? Which I'm happy it's like that because when I first read it, I thought it was only going to buff the character that is debuffed. So I was like, oh no. But let's go to the actual tier list and let's break down where characters feel like they're being placed. So I guess instead of working across the row, we will work on an entire row and then we'll move to the next row and kind of like move according with that. I think that's just healthier in this sense because I've noticed it's just harder to move characters around when a whole entire block is seemingly full. So let's start over here. So we're going to have our general buffers. Granted, I should technically move Muddy over here, but we are because of owning all skills, but I'll just keep her here still for now. Tama. I still believe after using Diva and thinking Diva might actually take the spotlight from Tama. Actually, they work very well together. So I don't really think she gets knocked down too hard. Although I don't feel like she doesn't feel as good as she once did. She's kind of felt like she's kind of dropped to a heal bot for a while. With the addition of Ruka, because you don't actually need Tama to buff your main damage dealer to break the enemy anymore. That's not a requirement like it was before. So like if you had before, if you were not running the null team set, you actually actively had to buff with Tama in order to get your crits. So then then your main damage dealer can break the enemy. That is not a concern anymore. And so Tama is been kind of benched to a healer role, and only will she use her buffs when it's required to during HP phase, which actually is a very amazing thing for her, because before, her main concern, as Red will probably agree, by our long 1 year duration of trying to use her, you can't just use her as your main buffer and healer at the same time, because she can only do one role. You actually have to pick and choose. You either have her as a healer, and you only buff, like, at the very, very end, or you can use her as a buffer and you bring a different character that heals or blocks or raises defense or something to mitigate a lot of damage, so then you can actually make use of Tama. That is not a concern anymore, which makes her pretty strong, in my opinion. But in a different department than she was before, where she is more on, like, not in this actual buffer role, but she kind of plays more of a healer role nowadays. I don't know how much Red has been playing elements. I think he's recently told me he hasn't, so I don't know how he feels about, like, what I'm saying, but that's what I've been getting when I use her recently.
In the end, she's one of the rare buffers who can still give Mind's Eye and greatly enhanced skill damage, which is a very rare combination of traits and a very important combination to have, and that makes her still relevant. Until somebody usurps her from that role, she'll still be useful in a lot of teams that Diva Ruka is in.
Yep, so that is also my agreement. So Tama, actually, I do not downgrade her, actually. I do leave her in this, like, top of 9 tier slot. I feel like she is very valid, very strong, and she fulfills her duty until there's someone who actually can do what she does. But but better, essentially.
Yep.
Now for Yunyun, her job kind of got um, gobbled up by Ruka. Sure, the enhance job wasn't taken away, but her hit count buff was, which is a big deal. Does this make her bad? No. However, I do think that it does kind of downgrade how powerful her kit is comparatively to before. And thus, I actually would want to decrease her score a little bit just because of, well, the issue that she has, which is that Diva Nuka exists, and therefore her prowess is just not as valuable, especially S Union doesn't feel as good when Diva Nuka can do her job, but technically better. Because she's an SS, she's tanky, she gives +2 to the Vanguard, which is better than Union's +1 to the rear guard. There'll be very specific situations where you will use Union over Ruka. That is a fact when it comes to one turning or looping or whatever. There's certain team comps that will like require that. So I will still knock her down a peg. I think she fulfills the tier 8 slot very, very well. And so, and to be honest, she's instead of being in the form of how powerful these girls are, she now starting to feel in the same realm as these girls. So I will actually knock her down. I don't even think that Red has actually even used Union ever since Diva came out.
I've used her for some one-turn stuff with Sumomo.
Oh really?
That's
Okay,
about it.
okay. But
But not really.
it's just not yeah, it's just not feeling it. In fact, I have been loving Muddy a lot more recently. Due to the fact that she pairs extremely well with Ruka, as of recent. The main change and difference is that, of course, she doesn't really fulfill the same slots as. I mean, she like fills up that slot that Ice really needs, and therefore, I personally would value her probably higher than Union, but definitely only due to the fact that Diva Ruka exists. Now, this tier list I am forming is based off the fact that we are understanding that you are in possession of Ruka. The previous ones I have right now is going to be basically based off of if you don't have her, because it changes your priorities significantly and how you see the game. So Muddy, in my opinion, kind of knocks herself up to 9.5. Not 9.5, but like the bottom of 9 tier, just because she is able to just stand on her own. She is, think of it in a way as like she's the same as Tama, but slightly faster, without a heal, and can only do on the Mind Eye one time, and that's about it, right? She's very powerful. If you have her SS1, you can also break. This is assuming you have SS1, by the way, right? So she can break the enemy, especially if they're weak to ice. So very, very strong. And in fact, if I were to put her into the buffered category for elemental, she's basically housing herself within the top elemental buffers at the moment, even though she herself doesn't buff any element but field. Excuse me. Now we're going to go down to Midori. To be quite frank, I don't think she's really changed. Her main issue is that you have no use. She has kind of like no use at the moment because her main concern was her main use was the fact that her SS1 can give Mind Eye to the whole entire team, which is great. She can give crit damage and crit rate, the high frequency one, but that's what Ruka also does. And then she lowers OD. I really don't feel like she should change her spot. She brings the same that she does before, but like you don't feel like you really need to use her when you do have Ruka on your side. So Like, you can argue that she's lower, but I think she's more than viable. I just don't think she's that great anymore. Now, we're going to one of the ones who actually got a major change. Seda 1, right? Sadly, Red and I have not used her since she came back. Yes, Mono. OD going negative in OD is really hurting Minori. The mere fact that when she uses her EX, it costs, what was it, half of the OD bar? Is that what it was?
Yep, it's
half the OD bar, and you could go negative, by the way, with this skill. It's very laughable. It's really bad in that aspect. Sure, the buff is strong and all, and it costs 0 SP, by the way. It's just that going negative OD is just very harmful. It's very hurtful. Now, Seda 1, I will pull up what she does now, because they did buff her. This is mostly due to the fact that Ruka does her job but better. So, if you haven't noticed, they have changed her skill to costing 9 SP, which is as cheap as Seika 2 right now, right? Higumin 2, her skill is also 9 SP. However, this skill, if you look at it, gives you 100% crit rate and 60 crit damage to the whole team for 5 turns. That's not the only thing you should notice. You should notice over here, which usually you see, uses 2, 3, 4, 1, etc. There is no counter. She can literally spam this skill and make sure your team has 100% crit rate and 100% crit damage the whole time. It's just not a passive like Aoi's is. But 9 SP is very, very cheap, which makes this skill really incredible. Does it even do anything if it increases up? Okay, yeah, it goes even over 100% crit rate. Now you'll think, oh, why does that matter? There might be times where it does matter. Sadly, not stackable. There is a score attack rule that exists. I think, remember correctly, it's minus 50% crit rate. She will be useful there, possibly, but since this doesn't reach 100%, probably not. But I'm just noting that, like, the fact it can go over 100% makes her that great. The rest of her kit really hasn't changed. But you do also have to remember that she still has the ability to use this skill, because we're assuming that you have all of her versions. She can use the prevents herself from breaking if she is above 50% DP, and she has an AoE cover. This actually does make her pretty good, and in fact, much better than Minori, which has to pay OD to use her skill. This isn't the most cheap thing ever. It's like, what, 6 SP? Yeah, it's 6 SP. It's pretty cheap, but not the cheapest thing. And then you got a nice crit rate buff for 9 SP. Very cheap, very easy to use. I personally think she's in the strong category now. She is actually incredibly strong right now. It's just that there's no reason to use her if you have Ruka, right? So if you're starting JP and you're re-rolling for some weird awful reason for the first ticket or whatever, you will want Seda over anyone else. That's how phenomenal she is nowadays. So I am moving her at least to the bottom of strong. I haven't used her personally, so I can't really note if she's better than that, but I personally think she deserves this spot. Now we're going to elemental buffers, right? What is the top of elemental buffers? Yotsuha is still the top.
Still, after all this
time.
Still,
all this time.
So good.
She is still the best. There's nothing toppling her. Now, sure, right now it seemingly shows that like Yun is above her or whatever, but that's because she has the the hit count buff, whatever. But if you have Ruka, all of a sudden that hit count buff means literally nothing.
Yep, and crit rate buff also means nothing.
And crit rate buff means nothing. So,
Doping in crit damage for Thunder, which is not that
Yotsuha
great. It's also
is
expensive.
just the king. There's nothing beating her. Now, her side grade Adele, sure is not as good as buffing, but usually is more notably used on score attacks where the boss has 999 destruction. This is because she can easily make that destruction into 999 with the power of Ruka. But Ruka can also do that herself. So it really doesn't matter which one you go, right? Yotsun attack, fire, enhance, crit rate, crit damage, enhance, 12 SP. It's crazy, yes. But you're missing one thing. She also has normal enhance for 7 SP, which is the strong version. She is just that stupidly crazily good. The only thing you're missing from buffs at that point is Mind Eye, and you're done. Like, that's it. It's so laughable. It's not even. It's crazy. Union, her power is a lot like less because the hit count buff doesn't mean anything. Her enhance is still one of the strongest because it's level 13, sure, but she doesn't get anything crazy off of her existence outside of having some crit damage for Thunder, which is funny because it's the only crit damage for Thunder outside of Iroha, right, which is conditional.
Yep.
But she doesn't really fit in a Thunder team anymore. It's actually really, really hard to consider using her for a Thunder team as of recent.
Yeah, the team slots are just too competitive now.
It's just too competitive. I'm currently gonna house her right here, but she's gonna be more so fitting down here. We're probably gonna be moving who's in here, so you'll see a change. And she'll fit in once, a new king comes on top right here from what we've discussed. Now, next one is Tsukasa 3. Her power has diminished considerably due to the introduction of Ruka 5. The reason why she was up high before was she provided crit rate and crit damage on top of field and regular enhance. Plus, if you have her SS1, she can power up herself more with buff. Like, she can make buffs more powerful. She's actually still very good. But you just don't feel her, like, raw power as much. Because, well... Wait! You know who's not on here? Dude, I totally forgot. I didn't put the Christmas banners on. I'm a washed up tier lister. I was like, wait, Shiki is not here. Shiki actually needs to be here. Oh my god. I'm washed up. Give me a sec. Jeez. Washed up. So washed up. And then we need Fubuki, who is super insane. Oh my lord, dude. I don't know who okayed Fubuki's new kit, but oh my god, whoever okayed that just needs to be fired. I'm just kidding. Oh boy.
I think it's cool that Fubuki is good after all this time.
I mean, I think it's good that she is, but it's just crazy, man.
I'm tired of all the good new units just being better versions of other good new units.
You're not wrong.
Ruka.
Okay. Anyways, moving on. So the elemental side, by the way, is gonna be. It'll feel like it got kind of like changed and everything, but you'll see how it is. First of all, Tsukasa doesn't feel as good. She's basically just a fielder. The crit damage, crit rate is vanished. All those things. Still pretty useful, but for where you want on as a team, she doesn't feel as good. And she actually, in my opinion, after trying to use some light recently, she kind of proves herself to be more in this tier now, the strong tier here. in tier 7, she kind of knocks herself completely down a whole entire tier, which is very unfortunate to see because she was really good on her debut. She was amazing, but really hard to fit her. While you can use someone like Isuzu, and you are not late. We just went over buffers. I mean, the general buffers. We're still in elementals, Mad Goldsmith. But yeah, so she's kind of down. Now, am I going to leave her exactly right here? No, she's within the strong. We just need some space, and we don't have the space to put her right now. So we should just leave her around here. Adele. I have finally got my hands on her. I have now tested her even more. I can let you know hands down that actually, funny enough, with the changes with Luca, she does stand actually side by side with Luca. I mean, with Yotsuha, which is scary to say. Now, this is of course with the Limit Break 1, right? Not Limit Break 3, which Yotsuha's buffs are much stronger and Adele's DR rate is much higher. The problem with the DR rate is usually you don't need that DR rate because Duka can cover you for that. So, in this aspect, in LB1, I do believe Adele is just as good. Sure, you're gonna miss out on enhance, but you get DR instead. Your what's it called again? Fire enhances are weaker, sure, but you're getting some OD. You're getting her passive and stuff where she can actually dodge attacks, which is very useful.
She's also faster than Yotsuha by a great deal.
Oh, she is faster by a great deal. So I value her at the same value as Yotsuha right now at Limit Break 1. If I had to make a choice, I would say both are very good. It just depends how you want to do your playstyle. You would rather pick one or the other depending on your playstyle. For instance, if you're running Ruka 5 and you do not own Ruka 2, you definitely want to pick Adele over Yotsuha. If you do own Ruka 2, you can argue which one you want to use. If the DR that you have to hit is only 300, Yotsuha's way better, right? So it really just depends at that point. And having both options is very nice, but not needed. Completely not needed. But I personally now enjoy using both. If you want to see big damage, Yotsuha's better. If you want to have a more like consistent and more like fast comp, Adele's probably your go-to. But yeah, that's kind of my pick. Yotsuha 2. How does she play out in all this? I actually don't think she moves. She's one of those that within here in this tier, I don't think she really moves. Sure, her hit count buff was kind of negated, but hey, Union already negated her anyways, so yeah. Why did that matter? Right? Her buffs are nice in general. She's not too slow, but she's also not too fast. The fact that she could sit in the back line and gain SP is always a nice bonus, because you could just leave her there until she needs a buff. Sadly, that does mean it takes a buff. I mean, a slot in the back, but I mean, it's fine.
Your fun slots are for Diva Ruka's plus 2 SP anyway.
Exactly.
So it all works out.
Thanks, Diva Ruka. Thanks, Diva Ruka. Yeah. And so, like, the fact that even if Yotsuha needs to go in the front, in Diva's on Diva mode, you don't miss out on too much SP. It's fine. Like, sure, you miss out on like 2 SP, sure, whatever. One on Yotsuha, one on your supposed to be in the front line, but like you also make do with the problem that Yotsuha has, which is if she's in the front, she just can't get the SP. So like it covers her weakness on that aspect. I think she stays where she is. Although, you could probably move her around, within this upper echelon, but overall she doesn't really change. Iroha 2. I have played with her a lot more because I finally have my hands on her. Yay! Is she good? I still prefer Megumi more. Unless you are on a fast comp. Like, you really need to go fast. Vroom vroom, you're running Adele 4. then I could see it being very good. Um, do I think that she deserves a spot higher than she is right now? I don't think so. I think she stays where she is. Um, there isn't very much she can get out of anything here. The mere fact that her job is also being still used by Adele and Yotsuha, and then the crit rate doesn't matter because Ruka exists, just makes her kind of not as crazy good as a buffer as these two, but and she only she basically kind of overlaps a little too much with these two and only brings in a battery and a large fire field and some OD. But like Adele can also get you OD. Like it's a mix and match. I'm not a big signer for Iroha 2 in terms of team building unless you really need that 5 SP. You're going for like a 3-turn clear or something with fire. That's about it. What are your thoughts on that, Red?
I think she's one of the most fun styles they've released in a long time.
I do
That
agree
doesn't
with
make
that.
her super strong, but it does make her someone you want to use on teams, and when you put her on teams, she'll probably do something relevant, and
Yeah,
that makes her pretty good.
I do agree with that. But we'll move on. So Chia is the gold standard for your ice buffers. Like for ice crit damage. She's basically Yotsuha, but for everyone getting the buffs. With the extra turn, whatever. Now I will note, Ruka, her turn-based buffs will disappear faster with Chie. Because Chie will have her extra turn. It actually hurts Chie that she can't use Ruka's buff as well as most other characters can. Mostly because she will time out the buff, and you really want the every turn diva buff, where she get +2 at the start of every turn. It doesn't count for OD turns. It doesn't count for extra turns, so it feels really bad. I do think that she is still very good, of course. Just that she can't abuse that makes her just kind of like place in the same as where she is. She's still very good, just that's kind of where I see her as of late, as of recently. Incredibly strong, best of ice, but can't fully abuse Ruka's power, essentially. Sure, the great benefit she has is that if Ruka gives her hit count buff, she can give you OD like crazy during AoE content, which is funny, which is great to see, but that's really about it. Iroha 1. Well, as you know, with Iroha 2, she's now one of the greatest dark buffers in existence. Can give dark crit damage finally, right? Can give you the fields with some OD gain. Makes her very solid on a dark team. Very much what you want. I finally have her now, and now I feel happy about using dark. Does this change where she is as a position? Not really. I don't think she also changes. So these four kind of stick to their guns. We can note Yunyun. Now, we're going to go back to Yunyun 2 real quick. Does she kind of stick around the same field as these girls? I do think so. I personally think she is slightly less powerful than Yotsuha, because Yotsuha can buff more characters than she can, but overall it's not that big of a difference that you should sweat over it, right? So this is kind of where we're at with our top buffers. Oops, forgot to... Man, this is so slow. Doing this so poorly. Now, I did note over here, we have Shiki, right? I actually, funny enough, everyone will laugh at Shiki, everyone will say Shiki's power crap, whatever. I also agree with that, by the way, but I want to note one thing, and that is very important. Shiki is still extremely, extremely strong. She provides light, like enhance, light crit damage, ignore the crit rate, ignore the hit count. She still can give you charge, and she can still give you a large enhance. That actually makes her incredibly strong. Their main issue is right now is that she costs a little bit too much SP. First, she needs to buff herself with using 7 SP, and then she can buff some single target, but it costs 12 SP. The same SP it costs Yotsuha to buff. The main difference is that Yotsuha can buff multiple, while in the back, well, Shiki can only buff one that she aims at. The other thing to note is that Shiki can give you charge. Which one is better? In my opinion, I think that Yotsuha is much easier to use, much better to use. However, that's only for Limit Break 1. The moment you go to Limit Break 3, it's the opposite. Shiki is way better to use than Yotsuha is. So just note to yourself that it just depends on how much limit break you have on how good a character is. So if you watch, those high-end JP players getting massive scores and whatnot, you will see more Shikis, most likely, than you see Yotsuhas. And that's the main reason why, is if they're Limit Break 3, yeah, they're better. Like, she's better. So, in this case, that is not the case. So, what the... so, I will mark her for now, or down here, because we just don't have room. We just don't have room. I don't feel like she deserves this spot in particular, and if I were to fill that spot, it would be Iroha or Chie. In fact, I'd probably put Chie up here over Iroha, in like my honest opinion, as of current. I actually will do that. I will put her up here, at the very least. We'll leave this spot vacant to see if there's anyone who can challenge that spot. Technically, who challenged that spot is Mari actually considerably goes here, but we don't. We're just not going to worry about it. So, Tsukasa 2. Not much has changed about her, except for nothing she does overlaps with Ruka 5. That makes her good. I personally think so. Does she deserve a higher spot because of that? No, but that also means that she doesn't have to move, which is really good. I personally have only used Tsukasa 2 one time ever since Ruka 5 came out, just to try her out. Doesn't feel as good as the ones above, but she still can help you dish out a lot of damage. So just remember that she's very strong still. Just everyone else, Fire's just too strong, man. Red, can you imagine if they released a overwrite for Fire? What a field day, dude.
Surely that won't happen within a week, probably.
I love Fire. I really hope not. So she'll stay here for now. Higumin 2. You really don't see her around. She is mostly for Thunder team because of her Thunder. What's it called again?
Thunderfield.
Thunderfield. Just like that, I could technically put Mari over here too, and I should. But really, Mari is used for multiple teams. Then she is just for Ice, while Seika is literally only used for Thunder. Because most of her job is gone because of Ruka, I personally think she can't be in the strong tier anymore. She's just not cutting it. So, even after her SS1's upgrade, just not cutting it. She probably housed herself around here for now. We'll drop her down and we'll see where we can kind of move characters around, but she really doesn't deserve a spot in strong anymore, which is very unfortunate to see. Everyone's favorite girl in current EN, not looking so hot. Next is Karen. Red, I know you don't use Dark too much. Do you even have Cotton SS4?
I don't have her, no.
Okay.
I missed it.
Um, I have her LV0, which is very unfortunate because then I can't fully test her limits. Because usually you just need limit break 1 to like actually use them in 140. I'm just not a fan. She's just a worse version of a Del 4. She doesn't have a dodge. Her only difference is she can use her ult twice, but that buff costs 10 SP. And then it actually consumes your ult use twice. It doesn't just use it twice. It literally uses it twice. So your ult counter does go down. I don't know if you actually know that, Red. I didn't know.
It's never come up.
What?
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, so funny note for those who don't know. Anyone who has the buff, which is now Karen and Akari, which says you can use your ult multiple times, like an extra time. It doesn't mean like on that same turn. It doesn't mean that you get to use it again. It means you have to consume it again, and you get to use it for a second time. So if you only have one use left, that buff actually means nothing. I don't think I brought it up last time because I didn't really think about it, but that is the fact. It doesn't work. So if you're trying to be cheeky and be like, oh, I'll pop this, then get an extra one off when you only have 1 out of 4, you're getting it wrong. Now, here's the best part. Ruka can make it so during Diva, that's not a problem anymore. So, does that change her placement? Personally, I value her as much as I value Shadow 3 at the current moment. And in fact, I believe Shiki is better than Karen. So, Shiki should house herself up here. And, in fact, Karen is not as good as Tsukasa. And Tsukasa should be valued up here. So, in the breakdown, Karen does get dropped a little bit. But that's mostly because the others that were basically falling off from the top, and they're still incredibly strong. She just doesn't cut it for her job. The main reason why is she doesn't give Dark Enhance or Mind's Eye or some like important buff. She gives Dark crit damage, which is nice, but Iroha can bring it, and a lot of other dark damage dealers can give it to themselves, which is another issue to think about. So, because of that, she is dropped in that aspect. Tsukasa 1 is very strong in the aspect of her upgrade. A lot of EM players are wondering when she'll get her upgrade in EN. I don't know when she'll get it. I personally don't see her getting it within the next 3 months. I think if she were to get it with Koju 3, it would be during around the time when Shadow 3 comes out. That is my prediction if I had to place one. Do I think it's not going to be that? Probably, because there's so many other dates available. But I would think that would be considerably the decent time to drop it. Mostly because then, like, it actually makes Thunder pretty strong too. So, like, it's like a weird place to place. Anyways, just note that Tsukasa 1, Seika 2, they're on the same place. I personally think Seika 2 is probably a lot more worth using than Tsukasa 1, but because the difference isn't that big, I'm not going to change where they're placed. They're about the same. Seika 1, obviously, better than Mari 1 in multiple aspects, mostly due with the fact that she can use her doping, or in EN, what's it called in EN, Red?
Power burst.
Yeah, so P burst. P burst existing, Mari not having any access to P burst. You can use that more for dungeons, etc., etc. Very useful for those aspects. But that's kind of the breakdown on where the buffers came. And then Shiki, normal Shiki. The only change she had was she has access to P-Burst type of skill. Does that raise her up? I think so. I think she deserves a raise up. At the very least, she deserves that. Is it good? No, not good enough to really make her viable. But hey, she exists. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm leaving a hole just in case, but for the most part, that's kind of your buffers. Tama, which we initially thought would get a drop, didn't really actually get a drop because we realized, oh, Mind Eye is actually still rare, and what you really need to have with Ruka is a strong enhance, which Tama can bring both. On top of that, Tama becomes more of your main healer than your main buffer when she used to be a main buffer and you actually kind of built more tanky stuff. Ruka can also heal too, so these two together can heal together. And if you're, running ice or something, Chia can also help heal. Like, there's a lot of different options going for you. Moving on to what's it called again? Debuffers. Small change here. Fubuki is now more used as a general debuffer than she is a dark debuffer. I'm kind of inclined to not actually have her on the elemental side anymore, just because her active use has become the norm to be in the all category, right? So, Io. So, we're moving her out. She's now within the general. How has the general changed? It's been interesting because usually you would see there's only like 4 characters here, and then there's this one thin line. There actually needs to be a new column now in 4 here, in my opinion, because of how strong these debuffers are. They kind of deserve a spot together, right? Let's see, let's change this to there we go. So just note that debuffers, the general debuffers are incredibly strong right now. I think that that Red can also agree with that, and he'll probably let you know that's a thing.
Yep, I agree.
What happened here?
Looks like everything got messed up.
Oh, I don't know what this down here was. Oh, that was because that was from the other thing that I had here. Haha. We don't talk about that. Anyways, so overall, general debuffers have gone from good to actually insane. They're so strong now. It's crazy. Mia used to be the top because she had her defense down and her fragile. Maki got that upgrade where she can now do both as well. However, hers requires you to have more than OD2 to pull hers off, which is why she's on the little bit lower end. Isuzu, too, has gotten fragile. We got to see how she gets used and stuff. She has the strongest defense down in the game, etc., etc. There's a bunch of different upgrades for her. Very easy to use. Just, you don't get OD really from her. And she was just kind of lower on the list because of, well, lack of OD, lack of destruction. She's still one of the more potent ones, but it was still kind of harder to use her overall. Fubuki came out of nowhere with her upgrade being the same thing. She can now use everything. Everything is both fragile and defense down. But now her SS2 provides her with the ability to get a whole entire bar of OD in 2 turns. Or not 2 turns, but 2 of her turns. which is really insane. Red, do you even have Fubuki 2, or you're
Nope, I didn't get her.
okay? But we have seen the
Yeah,
craziness that she
she's
brings.
nuts.
She's nuts. So you'll
She's
see all
really
the
good.
whales, like all the JP whales, all the high end players who like throw cash at this game. Yeah, you'll see her be used everywhere because of that. It's not her LB3 or anything. It's the fact that she can get you that. So, in my honest opinion, out of the general debuffers, I think Fubuki takes the cake right now. Now, if you want the largest numbers, Mia is still the best in terms of like the potential for certain things. Actually, Isuzu is the best for the actual potential for highest numbers, but Mia is like the best balance. But personally, due to how the game is played out currently, I personally value Fubuki to be at the top of the food chain, right? It's just no questions asked. She's at the top of the food chain. Now, is she placed at the top of 9? I think so because of how much OD she gives. It's just that crazy. Just note that at higher limit breaks, she doesn't get to move, unlike someone like Mia, who gets more bonuses, right? So Mia gets the bonus that she gets stronger debuffs. Maki gets the bonus that she gets the hit counts, which means that her what's it called again? Her blasting is much stronger, right? Isuzu gets much stronger on her defense down, which is her strongest suit. So Fubuki, unlike the others, doesn't get to move, but at lower ranks, I personally think she is the strongest out of all of them. I also personally believe that Isuzu shouldn't be down here, but should at least line up with Maki. And so that's why this new like split has been added, is because of the strength of Isuzu is just so good. She just needs to be next to Maki, and she's been seeing more use due to Ruka 5. Especially for fire teams. The reason behind that is you want large damage, boom, there she is. Do you need, like, hitting OD is not as hard anymore because Ruka 5 can give you that hit count buff. There's just so much going that her weakness doesn't feel that much of a weakness anymore. It's just such a small factor now that it's not that big of an issue. So, not seen as much of an issue. Pretty strong. They're all versatile. Like, if anything, they're all just really good. So that's why if you look over here in pull recommendations, flat out the gate, Fubuki's up there. Mia and Isuzu and Maki, all very strong. So they're all within this like pull priority list. That's what this is made for. I didn't want to put in why you should pull whatever. It's pain in the butt to do. So I didn't do that. But this is just more so for like lazy people. Now, did anything change for our best friends, Megu and Miko, since then? Well,
Kind of, yeah.
yeah.
Well, for one of them.
Miko got a change. Miko got a stronger defense down, which is incredibly cool. Let's go over here, right? Actually, no, I should show this first. What we got from Fubuki, right? So Fubuki's main change, you have to understand, okay, are two things. She not only got a defense down, but now her misfortune is used before her damage. Before, it was oddly used after her damage, which is why she was not like rated so highly. Now she does it before. So she not only has 3 effects, but they get stronger because she has a parameter decrease. Right? Pull priority list has been a great help as well. I mean, it's not much of a help right now because it's not like most of their banners came by. But it helps you understand and plan how you want to pull. But, so, this is why Fubuki is seen as incredibly strong now. Now, Miko got a giant boost. Look at this, okay? So, first of all, her first use, nets her with 7 SP as her first cast. It's very cheap, very easy to use. You don't have to use this skill first because her A skill is a single target defense down, and so it's very easy to use that and then break. When it's time for go time, you don't need as much SP. Instead of using 28, you only need 21. The biggest deal about her is now her defense down goes from 20 to 30% to 40 to 55%. If you're wondering what normal defense down is, that is 30 to 45%. So even with low values, she is already hitting nearly max value of a normal single target defense down. Not AoE, single target defense down. And that's really, really good, really strong. Can you use this version right here now for like something like dungeon stuff? You can. She's just so good for that, like stuff like to kill everything. But for does this make her good for score attack and whatnot? Well, not really by herself, but at least she should net herself to be, like next to Megu too, like at the very least, maybe even higher. Because AoE wise, imagine AoE, you get higher defense down a single target. That's insane. Now, of course, Isuzu does that, but better. So, just noting, I'm personally going to put Miko at 4. Still not viable, because she only brings one thing to the table, but still very good. This will affect her other versions, by the way. So, now we're going to elemental debuffers. Do we have any over here? Elemental debuffers? No? Okay. No, we didn't. We can ignore that then. Yeah, we didn't. Okay. Elemental debuffers. Sharo, Tsukasa, Hisame, Megu. How have they panned out? Personal opinion. Might be a different take than a lot of other JP players. So you'll see a lot of JP players probably think and note that Tsukasa is not as good anymore because she doesn't help your max damage. Which is true, because now her hit count buff doesn't really mean anything, when before it did. However, because she gives a hit count of 5, she is still very useful to match with someone like Aina, someone like herself. She can also bring her own SS1 in order to bring more stronger buffs. There's still a lot going for her. It's just that she doesn't have her hit count buff be as much of a priority anymore. For damage, that is, right? It's still good for building OD. So, does this make her bad? I personally don't think so. Does this make her lower rating than Hisame and Charlotta? Maybe. It kind of makes it so she doesn't really get out. I think she doesn't really have to move, really, because it's not like it changed her playstyle, I think. Outside the fact that you don't have to use her ult to buff your main damage dealer, now you can use it actively to make Aina go faster, which is crazy to say. And also make her faster, make even someone like Maki fast. Like, you can make anyone faster, right? You can use it on Iroha 1. There's just a bunch of options. I still think it makes her really good. So, I don't think she moves, but you'll see a lot of other JP players think that she should go down, and that would be the reason why. Personally, I don't think that take is as strong as my valid point of now Tsukasa doesn't have to focus on making sure the main damage dealer is in the front with her. She can now make full use of the OD gain side rather than the damage portion. So that's just a quick note and thoughts on it. Um, what are your thoughts on that, Red? On like,
In terms of gameplay, she kind of feels more like a utility support than a debuffer.
yep, I do agree with that nowadays. But I'm still gonna leave her here because I think that overwrite being moved to utility would just be kind of weird. But yes, I do agree. She's more of a utility support nowadays than a like debuffer, buffer, whatever.
And also, I think she's probably too high, but you've already talked about that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, even Red agrees that like on the side of like she's a little too high. She should go lower. My personal take is I think she should still deserve the high spot, but it's just that her gameplay style has changed from like from being a like a buffering or to more of a utility, make more OD, make more zoom, just I still feel like that's a very strong aspect. Megu 3, does she have to move? No, nothing's changed for her. So, not really. Megu 5, also nothing has changed for her. The main issue with Megu 5, though, is that there's so much overlap in Thunder nowadays that she's kind of just there for the field more than anything else, and it feels kind of bad. In fact, Thunder, in my honest opinion, feels like the weakest element if the enemy is weak to every element, right? Like if the not in every element, but like if there's a boss and you rotate what their weakness is and you're hitting weakness, I feel like Thunder's kind of the weakest one, and you're kind of driven to you have to use Aoi, you have to use Fubuki 2, and even then, Fubuki 2 finally can reach the upper echelons of damage with everyone else, while Aoi actually kind of starting to struggle nowadays. My whole team of LB3 is just not cutting it and not doing as much damage as my light team is, which is very sad to see, where my light is just doing the same amount of damage, if not better, at LB1, while my team of LB3s in Thunder are just doing the same amount of damage, and I'm using Aoi as my main damage dealer. It doesn't feel good. In fact, it feels really bad. And I've noticed it's because, well, Union got kicked out. Not much of Megu's fault, but it is just something to note that because Megu shares a lot of similarities as Shadow, which is the defense Thunder defense down, and of course she can bring now the defense down that previously was not brought by anyone else, brought by Union, but Union's out of the picture, so she still deserves this high spot, but it's just sad to see that Thunder is kind of not doing so hot right now. Miko 3. Because the upgrade of Miko 1, Miko 3 has become incredibly strong. I don't know how much Red feels this, but I actually think Miko 3 deserves a tier higher. It sits with other... Like, I think Miko 3 is the weirdest and craziest one, because she is the debuffer that sits with the rewriters and the fielders, but she doesn't have either of them.
Yeah, she's one of the best debuffers in a vacuum. She does so much, she does it so efficiently.
Yo,
And getting a slightly better defense potency debuff improves her performance. It won't always feel like it improves her performance because she already had a pretty cheap and high potency defense debuff in her 4 SP skill.
Yep. And it's
every little bit helps.
Yep, every little bit helps. So either you can have enough SP to spam that EX twice, or you can run one of the her new EX and then do her normal defense down from her single target 4 SP. It's like 4, right? It's 4 or 5 or something. It's crazy low SP cost.
It's 4 SP for her normal one.
Yeah, it's crazy low. So just note that that's what you're looking at, and that's what you're looking forward to when you use her. Does that make her get higher? I personally think it really does. Does this make her higher than Isuzu? I actually don't think so. I think I rated both. I rated Isuzu too low to begin with. I think they both go up here
Yeah,
in this
they're
higher range.
about equal. They're just one you use for single target and
Yep.
one you use for AoE.
Really, it's just exactly. It's just one used for AoE, one used for single target, and one gives you a field. The other one is just stronger debuffs in general. They have stronger debuffs.
And much less reliance on overdrive and SP in general, which is a big
Exactly.
deal.
In fact, um, like the main part is that Miko can her EX will increase. I mean, will give her an extra turn. So it's just much more reliable in so many aspects. If you want to just do a debuff turn, like in one turn, she can just do her EX once, and then boom, one defense down. You have everything done at once by one turn. It's like it's a crazy dumb. That's all I gotta say. Um, the other debuffers really do feel a bit harsh, like not as good comparatively to the ones above. To kind of a crazy level, to be honest. Isuzu 1 has defense down and fire defense down and fragile. However, is unable to do all of them because, well, each skill only does one thing. Is she good? I think I'm starting to think I rated her too highly before. Red, I'm looking around her. I think I rated her too highly.
For just fiery Suzu?
Yeah, for just fire Isuzu. She still has fragile.
Yep, she has 2-turn defense down.
2-turn defense down, and then 1 turn for everything else. I think I rated her too highly before. I actually feel like Aino is better. I do think Mia is better, and I think Megu is actually better. I I think before I was hyped up about something else a little bit more. She's definitely on the under these three. These three probably take the cake in being in exact same place. In fact, it's funny because they're all they all. I just realized they're all eternal defense downs.
Yeah, they're all just the same unit in different colors.
They're
Slight difference.
with a slight difference. Aina has the OD from her SS1.
She also has good general debuff skills.
Yep, general debuff skills are nice. She can cover everything except for single target defense down.
Assuming you can make the SP for it.
Yep.
And have
Mia
enough turns.
Mia can do everything that Ice needs, because you have to understand that she pairs with Hisame extremely well. She may not be the best debuffer for the job, actually, but the fact that she doesn't have any debuffs that are overlapping Hisame makes her incredibly potent. Sure, it's defense down. Hisame also does defense down, but one is eternal and one is normal. So they don't actually fight over each other. They're additive, completely additive. So incredibly powerful. She comes with fragile. So she actually in the prime ice team both are used. In fact, in the prime ice team, you'll be seeing Ruka, Chie, Hisame, and Mia. Okay. The last 2 slots, which is your damage dealer and your fielder, will depend. I mean, and of course your Mind Eye will depend on who you bring. If you bring Kanade, you're going to be bringing Mari 2. If you are bringing Yuina 4 or something, you're still bringing Mari 2. However, if you bring someone that is called Mari 3, you cannot bring Mari 2 anymore. You bring Tama instead. So that's kind of like your meta go-to ice team right now. I personally did not do like meta teams before, but ever since I started making more like YouTube stuff for you guys to actually see the like the potential of these characters, I have been using more meta comps. It's not as fun, but it's to show you guys like the general power of these girls, and what to expect and how to expect to play them at the level that they exist. But overall, they're all very strong. Isuzu is not as strong as any of them, and then we have Miko again, except for this time, she has a stronger defense down. I actually think she deserves the strong category. Funny enough, I do think she deserves a strong category, but is it so important that like it overshadows anyone? Not really. The reason why you'll never see Miko used over Mia is that she completely overlaps with Hisame, which makes, if you're running Hisame, Miko worthless to use. So you won't see her ever. But just note that she is still very strong. En will actually have Miko come relatively soon. And she is a strong pickup, but only if you're going ice would you ever think about picking her up, because Hisame will take at least another half a year after Miko drops before she even exists, if I'm not mistaken. Maki, Koju, Sharo, Mia, Hisame. I don't think any of these guys move. Nothing's really changed for their MO. I don't think there's been enough shift for them to even feel like they deserve a change. Maki is still useful because she can break, and she can even break even better with Ruka now. Outside of that, no real change. And is important for her to break? Not really. So we're gonna move on from that. Now we're going to defenders. Yay, defenders! How useful is Aoi? I don't think anything's changed. In fact, you just don't use these Aois anymore. You just use SS4. Red, I think we're on the same boat. It's like,
Yep.
sure, you could use Thunder Aoi, but like outside of that, do you use her like other versions on any other one except for Admiral? No. In fact,
Just don't really use defenders as defenders these days, especially since Diva Ruka has her own brand of healing that is
yeah.
surprisingly relevant, more than I thought it would be.
Well,
It's just sustain is so much easier now.
yeah. Ruka is actually just much better as for sustain, but you have to break early. That's the main key, is you have to break early and you have to get DR really high really fast. Making unit negate any damage for 2 turns is freaking crazy. You'll say that, but like the further you go, the more you realize that there are other avenues of doing something similar. Sure, less often, but you get OD off of it. You can get other things off of it. Example is Yuki, Unison Yuki. If you break with her, with any Yuki, as long as you have this version and you have her passive, will down the enemy for 2 turns. Negates everything. Nothing hits you, nothing. For 2 turns. It's crazy good. In fact, it has made my made Yuki 4 actually viable. She's actually really good right now, funny enough. Anyways, here, we should move this bar here so then we can at least see where the things are for the stream. Iria 1, Ichiko 2, all these girls, are they to move? I don't think so. Just note that defenders aren't really used by anyone nowadays, unless you're running them as your damage dealer. They're just not used. Does that invalidate their existence? No. But you really don't see them anymore by anyone unless you're using them as a damage dealer. So like if you're using Aoi 2, Ichiko 2, or Seira 3, you basically never see them. They're just not like available. Like no one uses them because they're just not as useful. Now we're going to healers. Have healers changed for the most part? Mua. Have I tried using Mua? Funny enough, Mua can be used on the auto comp for 1 mil. I don't know if you know this, Red. There's an auto comp for 1 mil.
I believe it, yeah.
And Mua is like the healer for that. Because she can top off your allies while giving Mind Eye to the backline. Yeah, she's still the best healer. I don't think that's changed. Like overheal, nice. Mind Eye, nice. Tama. Tama is still a very good healer. In fact, her heals are incredibly strong because you usually build her for wisdom, intelligence, and so that allows her to deal more damage, but also makes her heals stronger. Sure, you're like, oh wait, but didn't she have like a max, what's called max parameter of 200 something? True. Damn, you're late. Yes, you're late. Tack. True, she may have that, but you didn't remember that if you go to damage info and you look over here, there is the tier bonus, right? The adjustments for heals is actually at maximum it's 30% extra healing, but you have to hit the new cap, and the new cap is like 550. Since you're building intelligence anyways with her, she actually can hit that cap unlike the others, and it's very strong. Does this make her stronger than these? As of right now, due to the meta shifts and everything with Nuka 5, and the fact that Thunder enhances that's like one of the few ways to get Thunder enhances, I actually think she is still in this strong category. As funny enough it is. Sure, she has high competition. Sure, she's a little slow with 15 SP. But actually, she's not that bad. She can break. She can have strong heals. She's actually relatively tanky, even at low LBs. So, because of her distribution. So, overall, I do still think she is still up there. You'll see a lot of other JP players who will note that she's probably should be a bit lower, but that's because they're probably just using Tama, like Suit Tama, so there's really no reason to use this Tama. That's pretty much all it is. Nothing else. Give me a sec, I need to sneeze. Oh, jeez, it's coming, but it didn't come out. What the heck? Now we go to the little box here. Out of this box, because of Nuka's existence, Seika 3 takes the cake. She goes up 1 rank. A whole entire rank. She like completely flies like past them. She gives Mind's Eye. You can put P burst on her. You can give morale boost. She does it all. Is she a requirement for a dark team? Unfortunately, no. But is she still very good for a dark team? Yes. So she's kind of like a side grade for like the top. So, funny enough, she may be in this like tier 8 category, but she really does help out with like the like fill in the holes for the tier 9s. That's pretty much her only job. You can use her as multiple. She just has multiple uses now, right? So she can be a healer. You can have morale boost. You can have so like heal, morale boost, dark, enhance, mind eye. If you really care enough, you can bring her as a attack down, defense down. As long as you can make sure that right after her you have your Iroha go off and make sure that your dark field still sticks. So she just has a lot going for her in that aspect. Yanagi still hasn't really moved. She's just a pure donator and with massive heals. That's about it. Nothing crazy.
Very simple.
But very nice to have,
Yep, I use
especially
her
if
decently.
you're running in null like red does. So null has more to say about Yanagi, but you can go on if you want. Red, this is your girl.
I haven't been using a healer with Null recently, so it's fine.
Mm.
She donates SP, and she does that more than she heals, and that's about it.
But her heals are so strong that like you don't have to heal all the time, anyways.
No, you certainly don't.
I think she has the strongest numbers in the whole entire roster right now in terms of like pure raw numbers, and all of her heals will actually heal over heal right now. In fact, if you look at the database, you'll notice that the upgrade for her SS one, it goes from a normal heal amount to like an incredibly high heal amount, and it still gives you the and they added the overheal on top of that. So there's a lot going for her. Sure, the thing costs 11, but honestly, this heal's massive. This is nearly as strong as like Tama's EX heal, but you get, instead of like a revive, you get charge and you get an overheal, which in my opinion is better, way better. Carol, I finally have my hands on her. Yay! Is she great? Um, she's good. Just I don't see her being that great. I think she's good and strong, but she's not busted by any means. She should house this tier 7 slot pretty well, pretty fine. And there's not much to say about her. I think her main issue though is that she doesn't have a normal skill. That's actually a normal heal. Her normal skill is a heal over time, so heal per turn. So she doesn't feel as good. The main benefit though is that Ruka 5 exists, so she is very good at getting you to where Ruka 5 is consistent, which is you have to break the enemy, and the enemy has to have high DR. Carol also is very good for building OD because she gives the front line everyone hit count buff, just like just like Casa before. The only difference is it's only for fire, and fire you can abuse someone like Adele. You can use like you could run it on Iroha as well, where she can put down a dark field and then give everyone 5 SP. This is how you're supposed to play with Carol. Carol is more like you run Adele 4 and Iroha 2, and you just speed up how fast you're doing everything, and then kill the boss really fast with like 5 turns. That's pretty much how this like playstyle is. Like unlike the old Vanguard, old Fire Vanguard, which is just Yotsuha Megu, which is very slow but just does so much damage. Instead, it's just very fast paced, and you kill the enemy really fast, but your highest hit damage is much lower. Now we're going down to Tama 2 and Issa 2. Did we see any changes in the other? I don't think so. Did we see any changes in healers? Red?
No, they've
No?
been largely unaffected by Diva
Okay.
and Luca.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Now, we will add in our new healer that's been added to the game. Issa 3. Wow. I don't have her, sadly. Red, did you pull on that banner? Or did you?
Which banner was that?
The most recent banner that also just went away. Lisa 3?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Anniversary's coming up. Gotta see.
I know. I'm like, dude, there's no way you pulled on it. I didn't even pull on it. Um, is she good? People keep asking you. The answer, I'll give you a good answer. The best answer we have. We don't know. Why? She is a conditional buffer healer. Her heals are decent. Sadly, there's no overheal. So she's not very good at mitigating a lot of damage, but she can get the heals in. She will remove all debuffs and provide Mind Eye and strong enhance when she does. the main issue is that, sure, that sounds like, oh man, that sounds like better Mua. It's conditional. You can't force her to do that. So only when there are certain certain enemies that will provide debuffs, like a strong AoE debuffs, she basically is your go-to as long as no one dies on your team, because she allows you to... She kind of plays like the Aoi role, where she can just pop that heal whenever that happens in order for you to mitigate any any damages you've taken. As long as you didn't get one-shotted, you'll be back to full HP. Like, the amount of heal you get from it is very high. Let me bring it up. It is like you see here, it's as strong as Yanagi 1, the new Yanagi 1, if not better. The main issue is there's no overheal, so you'll basically be hitting full DP easily. What if a unit inflicts a debuff on the self? It will cleanse that, and it'll still work. The main issue is that there are certain characters which will their own personal debuff will only debuff themselves for the turn that they use it. So, for instance, if it's like a defense down, let's like an example, like so we're gonna take a look at Yuki 3, the most recent one that came out in EN. She gives herself a defense down for one turn. That one turn is only the turn she used it. Here's the issue. By the time the turn comes back, she doesn't have this debuff anymore. So, and you can't use the cleanse after the skill gets hit, like gets shot. So, the only ways you can actually get the right debuffs is if it's multi-turn debuff, or if it's a recoil, which means that they cannot attack the following turn. Sadly, the characters that do buffs or whatever, or debuffs that can also debuff themselves, those characters are providing the same exact buffs that Lisa does. So actually, it is very hard to use Lisa right now, but if they ever release anyone in the near future where it's easy to get your own debuffs and they last for like at least 1 or 2 turns or whatever, but they're not too detrimental, I can see her being incredibly strong. We just don't have enough of those right now. I think Red would agree with me that she would have been a must pull if we had more units like that were meta.
Yep. She's insanely broken if there's ever a really good unit that can debuff your own units. Or debuff themselves.
So, because that doesn't exist, it's really hard to rate her. If that did exist, let's play under assumption if, she would probably go within tier 9. I think Red would completely agree with me. She would be tier 9 material. She is
high tier 9 probably.
Yeah, high tier 9. She is incredibly potent. There is only one team that she can work in right now that will give her that, by the way. Just one. And if you wonder who that is the light team. Because you can use Yuki 4. Funny enough, everyone's going to tell you to skip Yuki 4. She's light, blah, blah, blah. By the way, I agree. You should skip on her. Well, you still do it, okay? I'm just letting you know. If you run light and you have Yuki 4, all of a sudden, Lisa 3 is incredibly strong because she gives herself a 3-turn attack down every time she uses her EX. Use her EX to break, use EX to just build some DR. Doesn't matter. You could just use that to then get the buff you need. Sure, it costs 14 SP, but what are you going to use any SP on Yuki for? She's literally just there for the super break, and for when she breaks, the enemy's down for an extra turn. There is literally zero use for Yuki to do anything after the enemy's broken. So you just spam this. And then on the following turn after that, you run Lisa 3. And you get the buffs you need. Is that like a valid strat? Yes. Is it good? I don't know. I've never tried it. I don't know. But I think it's valid because Yuki's strong enough to break. Excuse me, on her own. So, very good on a light team. I have kind of hard time trying to find a use for her in other teams, unless the boss has a debuff. Which I think recently there's been more debuffing bosses. So for now, I will rate her tier 9, top of tier 9. However, the main idea is that she is potentially here, but really she's just conditional. And therefore she's kind of in the weird place where she's kind of in the same boat as Mua, but if they don't have that, then she's worse than Mua. Just very conditional. But overall, very, very good character. Not a must-pull by any means, but at least for now. We'll find out in the future if she was a must-pull. We just cry.
We just did no.
Red and I will just try to pull her on wishlist, right?
Yeah, if she becomes broken, that just means she'll get rerun, and we'll pull her on a rerun.
Yep, rerun and wishlist. Yep, that's how it works. Okay, so just note she is good, just not like as good as you think most of the time. But yeah, just keep that in mind. So next thing, boom, boom, boom. We're trying to zoom through this so we don't have to sleep too late. But the other healers, do they change? Not really. Is there a wish list in JP? That is right. In fact, I can show it to you right here. We go to Gotcha list. Okay. So you do know how you have these shards. These, I don't know if you can see this. Is it too small? Can you guys see these? Not this one. Where is it? Is it even in here? No, it's not. Okay, so you know the little shards that you get per month, 1 per month. If you paid for the pass. Yeah, so that pass ticket thing that you get. So every 3 months you get 3 of them, and you could do a summon. At one point, it won't just be a summon of a random pool, because the pool is so large that JP decided to make it a wish list. You can put 10 styles on that wish list, and you'll guarantee yourself 1 of them, because instead of the pool being everyone, the pool will be within those 10. However, the main rule you have to understand is you cannot wish list anyone who just came out. You have to wait until their banner ends and then 3 months. So let's just say you wanted to have Ruka. Let's see. Over here, let's see. Where is Ruka? So Ruka here, right here. Ruka here ended on January 5th. If you want her to be on your wish list, you have to wait, I think, until March. Am I right on this, Red? Or is it March or April?
I'm not sure.
Not March, sorry, not March. I mean, not March. April. Sorry, March is the third month. April. So you have to be April, if not May, for Diva Ruka to be on your wish list. That's the thing. Now, in JP currently, we do have a wishlist banner. They do this usually every anniversary and half anniversary, if I'm not wrong, Red. I know every anniversary. I mean, not the first anniversary, but all other anniversaries they've done it. Second and third now. I don't know if half anniversary had it, but it's the same thing as the wishlist from the what's called again, the shards, except for you must use paid gems, and it's very, very expensive. Wait, is this wishlist paid or is it not paid? I forgot.
This one is paid.
This one's paid. Okay, yeah, it's actually expensive. If I'm not mistaken, it's like 15k quartz.
I think it was 13k.
13k? It's still expensive. Regardless, it's very expensive. But you can choose. So sadly, this one. Sadly, I bet this was on purpose. To be quite honest, it stops right before Admiral Aoi. So everyone else you can go try to put on the wish list but Admiral Aoi. It's so sad. I think Red was sad about that because Sumomo wasn't on there.
Yeah, there's just only like 6 styles that I want, probably. It's not worth it.
It was
The
worth it for
pulls are too
me.
expensive.
Dude, the pulls
Styles
are
aren't
worth it for
cheap
me.
enough.
If you saw my pulse thread, you'll be like, "That's worth," and I'll be like, "Yep, it was worth."
Yeah,
So,
but if I did it, it won't be worth.
oh yeah, for you it
That's
won't
how it
be.
always goes.
Ah, yeah, exactly. Dude, I baited
First resort round,
dude,
and
I
it's
baited
fine.
KSW. KSW was gonna pull anyways, but I baited KSW to pull earlier or whatever, and then he just got shafted. He was just like, "Screw you," to me, because he saw my pulse.
Justified, yeah.
If you're wondering, you're guaranteed 2 SSs. I got 5, which means 3 extra, and it's supposed to be a pull of 50 pull, which means that I got like what 1 or 2 more than I was supposed to, and I got all new, which means that anything I didn't own, I got, except for actually sorry, I got 3 new, and really on my wish list I had only 4 that were new, which means that I got 3 out of the 4 I wanted. Insane. Anyways, breaking down to utility supports. Pain. I want Muddy SS1, but she never got a banner on global, so I have to pray for Spook. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're a spender or not, Alex, but I will note, if you have not bought the that still exists, right? In EN, I don't even know if it's here or where to find it. The pack that lets you have an RNG chance on getting a like from a pool of buffers,
Yeah, that exists.
like blunt, pierce, slash, breaker, something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head. Those just many groups, and then healers. Everyone probably was like, "Oh man, Irene is so good. I'm gonna, use it to pull Irene." My personal opinion is, if you are a spender, the buffer banner was the best one to go for, and then you just pray that you got all of them. If you still have that option and you are a paying player, okay, you're one of the sad ones. You have pulled 3 times on. You got Tojo, Seika. Okay, that's sad. I salute on your effort. You tried. If you're wondering, I also pulled on that, and I got Seika Tojo on not EN but on JP. I was aiming for 1 Seika and 1 Tojo, prayed for 1 Mari because I had none of them, by the way, and I got none. And Mari was on my wish list, I think, in 2nd anniversary, and I got her. So like my Ice team finally came around during 2nd anniversary. Yeah, it's kind of sad. Anyways, we're gonna move on to the next part, right? Let's see. How long have we been streaming? I've been wondering. These always feel like a long time, but today's really fast. We've been zooming. We've actually been very zooming. Because a lot of things are already in place, but we just talk about what has changed. Utility-wise, is there anyone that is utility that was added in? I guess Akari's technically utility. Fubuki's also technically utility. I don't know. But Yui is definitely utility, so we will give Yui in. I think Fubuki is more so used for her damage than anything else, so I don't think we want to put her in utility. Iwasawa, I would think we should add into the devastation line. Okay, so we will add Yui later. Aina and Koju, do they move? They don't overlap with Ruka. In fact, Aina can abuse Ruka even more than she has. because you can just pop Luca's 5 turn buff. I mean 5 turn, 3 turn 5 hit buff on Aina, and Aina can go to town. Granted, you don't really need to do that because if you have Tsukasa 4, you can just do that too, and then save up on Luca's prowess stuff, and Luca can just power up Aina to do her thing shenanigans even faster. So she still deserves this spot. I don't think she really moves. She's very very good as a utility support. No one can really compete on like the power of her consistency. Now on burst, she has a competitor. On burst, Fubuki 2 is a competitor. I will add Fubuki probably into here, but she's kind of on the weirder end. Anyways, Koju is more consistent. Koju can still give you the morale boost. Just note that the problem with Koju has always been her major con is she needs to be in the front. She needs to be in the front. She needs to be in the front. She's also really squishy, so she just dies. Sure, you could put her in the back, but if you put her in the back, why did you bring Koju in the first place? And that's the issue she lands on. You also need her SS1, or she's just not as good. So, just putting it out there, just leave a note. Do they reduce themselves from tier 9? I don't think so. I think they stay their spot. Although Aina herself, I think, can take a backseat now. And I think Red would agree with me on that one. The main reason behind that is Ruka 5 can give hit count buff, and it lasts a long time to anyone. And they can just spam like uncommon skill that hits 3-4 times, and now it hits 8 times, and just spam that and get like crazy amount of OD. Aina's OD prowess is just not as effective anymore, and unless you're using Aina SS2 because you're getting the hit count stuff off as well, and it costs like nothing. Red, where do you think I should move Aina? Because, like, I personally think she's actually now down here. With Ruka.
It's around there.
I can't see her as good as these girls anymore with Luca around. She's just not as good. In fact, I wouldn't... She should be higher than Chiroru, but, like, she's just not it anymore.
Yeah, probably a little bit higher, and that's it.
Yeah, I think I'll just move it right here for now. So, that is the unfortunate side of things. Now, has Yuina gotten better? I think Yuina gets to stay because she still has her prowess, but she has actually a detriment trying to work well with Ruka. Her extra turn doesn't give you... wastes 1 turn of Diva and doesn't net you plus 2 SP. And I think that is a net negative. That I don't think she should get higher. I don't think she should get lower. She gets a lot from getting OD generation, DR generation from Ruka. It just feels bad that you can't use her extra turn as well as you used to, unless you're 1 turning. So unless you're doing 1 or 2 turn stuff, Yuina just doesn't feel as good anymore. And this tier list here is based off of you're not a whale. You are a light spender, if not no spender. It's just really hard to pull it off. So she sticks. She just stays. Kura is just Kura. I still think it's funny that she's only here because she has Ricefield. Which...
Hey, it's so good.
Oh no, it's so good because she's also a blaster, and blasters got stronger because Ruka 5 exists. Like, she just won. She won more because of Ruka, but she's just not that much more winning over Yuina. She's just used on every Sumomo comp, Yep. Like, I think she made Sumomo comp even better because you just you just throw Ruka buff on her and bam, instant like 999. Is it actually? No, it's like
No,
no, it's
it's
like
like
you need like two ults, right, to get there.
it's pretty close. Why don't you just take the high DR? Don't care that it's not capped. It's
Yeah,
probably fine.
it's still really high. That's all you need to know.
It's high enough.
Waki is still Waki. Has good utility. Can donate. Can provide SP. Can like give high hit counts. Just this a lot. Yuki still the same. In fact, in JP, you'll see her used very often against higher end bosses because her hacking is so incredibly strong. Especially if you're trying to hit 600, 600 border plus enemies, and you'll be like, "What? 600 plus? Yeah, I mean, if you defeat them, you get no reward. So don't be scared. They exist, but no one does it except for the giant whales. Um, Red probably has never touched them, unless it's the conquest ones. He has not touched them, and I have not touched them. And conquest, just let you know, they're major buffed enemies, but you have to realize you're also major buffed, so it's like very inflated stats. Yeah. Yuki is very amazing in those places. Not necessary by any means. As we noted before, Aino 1 sadly gets hit. It's kind of sad to see. In fact, one can argue that like I don't know. I feel like I put Waki a little too high as well. I'm gonna I think I'm gonna knock here, let me do this here. I think Aina goes to the side, and then I think Waki goes in here. The reason, if you're wondering why I'm doing this, is because I'm gonna add Fubuki here. Fubuki is a more recent attacker that got introduced. Her utility is being able to get to OD 1 in 2 turns. Much like Aoi can do it in 1 turn, except for she can kind of half spam it. Granted, she does go to 1 DP every time she uses the skill. So you have to make sure she's protected. And after the first time she uses it, it's 75% OD, and all other times it's 25%. It is strong. However, not overpowered, overbearing. She does help you with a lot of certain comps. However, since it is mostly a one-trick pony in terms of she does it once and then that's it, that she kind of like fits in this slot here where she's very commonly used because that's a very easy way of getting OD and stuff. But yeah, she's just there because it's just easy to use, and much more people are using it and are able to pull it off, unlike the ones under, which are just not as used anymore, if at all. Chiroru. I think nowadays, sadly, Chiroru, sure, she can use the power of Ruka 5, but I don't think people, she's just not used as much anymore. Even with the current way of how things are, with looping, people just don't really loop anymore as much. Using hit counts, they're kind of using more the Fubuki and the Aois to get the ODs they need immediately, and then killing within very like low amounts of OD. I actually think she takes quite a hit, and is deserving of a spot next to Ruka 2. That's just my opinion as of right now. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What are your thoughts on that, Red?
Yeah, Fubuki 2 is very good.
Yep, Fubuki 2 is good, and Chiroru kind of doesn't feel as great anymore.
No, there's other overdrive loopers and
Yep.
other ways to get overdrive. She's a bit dated.
Now, we go to Yuki, Yuina, Ruka, and this group right here, this viable but or barely viable group. And to be quite frank, the dispel and this hit stuff from Yuki's, and then the field, she is probably the weakest strong fielder in the whole entire game. Oh, it's sad. In fact, it wouldn't be weird to say that we should probably put another row for the utilities. To be honest, I think I might do that. I'm gonna do that. Another not row. Sorry, another column for the utilities. The main reason why is they have been releasing more and more utility supports recently. Maybe a little too much. Uh, I don't know how much Red feels about utility supports, but we've just been getting a lot of them as of recent. It's kind of, and there's just a lot, and I think we need more space for them at the moment. So let's make more space for them because we are adding in like 2 more utility supports, and there's just not enough space for them, right? So let's start with the ones that have big changes, very very big changes, right? Um, let's. I guess I could fix this bottom ones later. No one's really down there anymore, anyways. So let's go with the big changes. Sure, I want to talk about the ones up here, but the big changes is Yuri 2 and Yuki 4. Red, you know about the changes, right?
To Yuri and Yuki, yes, the super break change.
Yes, the super break
Pretty
change.
big deal.
If you want to talk a little bit about it, I need to get some tea. I ran out. I'll be right back.
Alright. So these two styles have a mechanic called super break on their ultimate. And previously, when they hit a already broken enemy with their ultimate who was weak to their damage type, then they would increase the destruction limit cap by 300%. Recently, there was a change to how Super Break works in general, in that if they break the enemy with their ultimate, it will still inflict the increased destruction limit cap, which makes them a lot more functional, because now they don't need to wait for the enemy to be broken before using their ultimate. They can break and still get the benefits of Super Break, and that makes them a lot easier to slot onto a team. Another significant change that affected them recently is that score attack scoring shifted more towards longevity rather than fast clears. You don't need to worry about clearing as fast, you can just focus on dealing max damage. And that really benefits these two styles, who can increase your max damage by a lot with their unique super break mechanic. Yeah, and that's about it. They both got a lot better. It's easier to put them on teams.
I just got back.
Yep. And I explained super break and the change.
Cool. I mean, I could hear you on my headset. I just couldn't talk because I wasn't there.
How'd I do?
I think you did a great job. In fact, I pulled this up before I left because I was like, this helps you see what happened. So if you know the Seraph database, you'll see that there is the top here and the bottom both saying super break. It looks kind of weird, but the reason behind it is it shows when they're applied. I don't know why this even matters anymore, but I mean, I understand why this is still there. I just think it doesn't matter. It should just keep only this one. But the main notable one was that Super Break used to be only up this upper area, which means it applied before damage. And now it looks weird because it now gets applied before and after damage. And that is kind of the summary of what Red said. Now, the Super Break mechanic has always been the laughing stock of mechanics because it didn't make any sense. Now it works, and it doesn't just work. not only are these potencies usually pretty high and with a high like modifier, but with the fact that Diva exists, you basically guarantee yourself breaking using these characters now. So someone like Yuri and Yuki, which before suffered on trying to break because you would have to actually spend a lot of time having Tama and other, buffers like Yun and everyone actually like funnel stuff into them. You literally only need Duka plus one buff. And you just Diva, get your crit damage, you get your funnel, you have any kind of enhance, and boom, broken immediately. So incredibly powerful, incredibly potent now. Really stupid because they can get their mechanic off when they couldn't before. So that's why they used to not be viable. They are now actually viable. Here's the catch. One is way more viable than the other. And that's not just because of what they bring to the table, it's because of what their element brings to the table. Yuri is ice. Ice actually does not need Yuri. In fact, Yuri probably is only good at increasing her own damage. If you bring Yuri, she's also going to be your damage dealer. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing else added to that. She's kind of just a worse Adele. Adele 2 in that aspect. So where does she move? She goes to viable, and I think she kind of fits in the strong tier. Maybe even down here, right? Her main thing is she has super break and she has DR. So her main thing is she can break. Her limit break 0 passive gives her 8 SP, and she can instantly DR, right? The next turn. As long as you start off with 18 SP. Her main issue is her SP costs are relatively high, and that's pretty much all it dubs down to, right? If you look at it here, hit count is only 4, which is not the greatest, but it doesn't matter too much, right? And then you have here only hit count of 1, so kind of feels bad. But you got the hit count buff from Ruka anyways. So I personally think that she deserves a spot within the strong category. She's very strong in her own right. However, you probably will never use her in Ice Team because you have, if you notice, everyone else that you want in Ice Team pretty much above her slot, except for Mia, which is just barely above her, right? She is up here, Diva's up here, Mari's up here, Hisama's up here. Yuri's just not. It's just kind of like barely off the roster now. However, Yuki got a massive upgrade in my opinion. She's actually the standard to have in a light team right now. Granted, light is considered the worst element. I now kind of disagree with that comment. I think light right now is number 4. If the enemy is weak to like their respective elements, right? So pretend like it's weak to it's neutral to everything except for a certain element, and you're only looking at it when it's weakness. Light is probably number 3, number 4 right now in terms of like damage potential and how easy they are to use. I actually think Thunder is like at the bottom right now, Red. When I did the calculation.
Yeah, Thunder hasn't gotten much recently. We'll see in a month. I believe
Yeah.
Light's gonna get something. Come on, they have to.
I mean, Light's gonna get something,
Right,
but
building up
honestly, though, funny enough, I think Thunder needs something right now. They're actually struggling so hard right now, except for
Thunder got Fubuki too. What are
No.
you talking about?
dude,
She's good.
outside
Thunder.
of Fubuki, and she becomes your damage dealer, she's just not cutting it, man. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just not it. Yuki actually is within, I would probably say top of strong, if not bottom of 8. I'm gonna put top of strong for now. we'll kind of worry about it later. Light glow up. Yeah, I mean, light's always been in that weird place. I don't, not a fan of running light back then, but nowadays I actually really like running light. I actually did a light run as of recent. Here, I'll just pop up. Let's see, Gecko, do you have the photo? Let me see if I can like pop it up. I definitely DM'd you on it. I'm just gonna see if I can pop it up for everyone. Just gotta scroll up in our chat. Bop. I just don't remember. Fire and Dark competitive for first place? Yeah, pretty much. Although I personally think that Fire is much better than Dark. I think Fire is the strongest, not because of the damage potential, but the Irene element. Okay, so that's a different story entirely. This score attack. I think I have it over here. I recently did a light comp run. Here, I'll just bring it up here. I did not record it, so I could still record it. I could still make a video on it if people on YouTube ask me to, but I don't think anyone has or anyone will, so I'm not post it. But this is what I got, right? I got 2 mil off of a 300% max destruction rate boss, which is actually really hard to do. My Aoi comp, I think, did the same amount of score, if not slightly higher, but it's a LB3 team. This is an LB1 team, except for Tama. Tama's the only one that's max LB. Everyone else is like LB1, and not even max leveled. While my Thunder comp was like all max level, like for skills, all max everything, and they're just barely better. If anything, they might even be worse. That's just the power of light right now. Light's incredibly strong right now. It's just that
the enemy needs to be weak to light.
The enemy has to be weak to light, and good luck with that. It's just rough.
How many bosses has Global had so far that are weak to light? Wait, is that none of them? And 3 of them have been resistant to light? Wait a second. Kind of how it feels in JP too.
Yeah,
although there is a light weak boss right now.
There's a light weak boss right now, but like
just for a little bit.
I think the most rare I think the most rare weakness right now in JP is light and dark right now. Actually, straight up light and dark are just so rare to see weakness to. They're usually just a resisted. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so neat fact. That's all there is. Next, we're gonna move up the list here because these two also got massive improvements. Hisame and Akari. So before, they were down here because most likely you could not do what they were meant to do, which is break the enemy, and you get something out of it, right? Now with Ruka, you can break with them, even at like LB0, you can break with them. With Union, you could not break with them. Now, with our friend Luca, you can. So now they can do their job. Because they can do their job, they're not just like barely viable on like if they can do their job, cool. If they can't, yikes. Now they're basically guaranteed to do their job. Therefore, Akari easily shifts herself to be in like the tier 8. Well, Hisame is easily position herself into strong tier. And a lot of it just has to do with the fact that they can just do their job now, and they used to not be able to, and that was an issue before. Now that they can reliably do their job, they deserve higher spots, which is why like I gave this extra column, because they we need more spots now, right? Yeah, 3 tiers up. Wow, that is true. I mean, if you look at even the JP tier list, if you went to the Limit Break 3, right? Akare's in tier 8, and Hisame is in tier 7, right? So like even if you look in this area, they are still relatively in the same spots, right? Tier 8, tier 7, right? It's just that now you have everyone else kind of moved up before because of they have more limit breaks and stuff. Sorry guys, they don't get much off of their limit break 3 passive, so they actually won't move. But now you don't need high limit breaks on them in JP. EN won't need to have them. It's just Ruka 5 doing this, right? If you're wondering, this JP tier list will be downgraded to JP tier list. It's literally going to be say pre-Ruka 5, because you actually have to see how Ruka 5 changed things. You can't just not do that and then expect them to be like, oh man, they're gonna be this strong later on. No, they're not that strong. Ruka 5 made them that strong, and you need to understand that. Sorry guys, the tea, it's getting me. Okay.
Akari also got a brand new skill that she can use on her SS2.
I mean, it's not useful, to be honest.
It can help with damage ranges, but yes, it's not particularly useful.
Not particularly useful. It just made it so she can basically guarantee her doing it, but like, do you really want to spend 10 SP for that? I don't know.
Isn't it only like 8 SP?
Is it 8? I don't remember. Something like that.
I know it's like cheaper than
drink warm
Garen's
mineral water.
expensive.
It is warm tea.
Let's see.
Okay. Koju got no changes. We're gonna ignore her, guys. Ruka is just for hit count, and Yuina is just for hit count and TR. And Yuki,
It's 7 SP. It's not even.
Ruka SP, I think, can just stay where she is. Yuki. Did I say Ruka? What the heck? Yuki can stay where she is. She gives field, which is nice. Dispel, which is nice, but very little utility. Doesn't really add much to the team. I'd rather run Iroha like 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10. Even if the boss has buffs. So I think this is pretty much the utility changes. Yeah, and these girls kind of don't change. They're just there. Yeah, feels bad. These two feels bad, you know. It's just chilling. Let's just change these. Okay. By the way, I know those in the YouTube side do not have music that I'm playing. I guess you guys are happy because you guys can listen to your own music. But I just realized that you guys are having it completely quiet. Okay. DR. Oh wait, we forgot a utility. We have more utilities. 3 new utility characters to add in. Yui. Did you get Yui, Red?
Nope, I got
Iwasawa?
Iwasawa twice.
Okay.
LB1.
Then you have you tried Iwasawa or no? You probably
I've tried
not.
her, but I haven't had success using her.
Okay.
So I'm not really that interested.
Okay, so Yui. To bring up her skill set, since she is new, I will bring her up skill sets. Unlike the other ones, which I didn't really bring over, because the first couple ones you should have already we went over them in detail today. We're not really doing that. This is where her utility comes in. She has this new thing called party shredding. I don't know why it's called shredding. I just call it shredding.
For the guitar flavor.
Is that what it's called?
It's what it's called when you like play a guitar a specific way.
Okay.
Shred the guitar.
Got it. Allows you to use, for a whole team, to use all skills when above SP. So everyone is now a 31X member. Here's the unmagical deal about this skill. It says for 3 turns, when it's actually for 2 turns. because the first turn it's used does not count. Which makes the skill bad. It's good for min turning. It's not really good for anything else. It is a form of utility. It allows you to actually do rotations that were impossible before for OD3, but like, would you really pay a space for that? No, not really, right? That's just my thoughts on that. 3 turns. This is the turn buffs that I talked about, right? So now this one's just 3 turns, but like your turns, including OD turns, by the way, guys, and extra turns. For frontline, it's only for frontline, and it's gonna be ice attack up, and that's it, right? She also comes with the fact that if she's under 0 SP, she gets extra SP. Granted, we are not going to count this, which is at LB3, she does give the whole party plus 2 SP. This is the only reason why you'd use her, if she's LB3. Otherwise, to be quite frank, you'll never use her. She just will not see use. I personally, at LB1, this is, by the way, she's LB1, do not value her that well. I have found very little success on making her exist and feel like she's viable and usable. And so, like, she's probably around this range. I'm gonna downplay... Actually, I'm gonna upplay her for now and place her here, because I think she has more use than Iwasawa does. And Iwasawa can take the spot that's, like, underneath her. Iwasawa, she's good, but doesn't deserve a spot. She does a lot of DR. She can break. She's basically a blaster with breaking capabilities. For 5-hit AoE, really a lot of hits, right? Damage potential is decent because of level 13, and she has a massive 50% modifier. Here's the thing. If you break with her, she gets an extra turn. During her extra turn, she can use this skill, which is it has like it has very bad potency for 12 SP, and the DR rate is very like mid, but it's actually kind of high because of the potency. I mean, the SP cost. Here's the thing. It doesn't say it here, but if you read here, it says that if you break, like if the turn the enemy is broken, this skill costs 0 SP. So if you break using this skill, she gets an extra turn, and she gets to use this skill for free. So she gets a free 11.4 DR rate times whatever the enemy has. So it's 5, it's like 55 or something like that. DR for free, right? And if she, and the next following turn, right, because the turn after, the enemy's still broken, you can use this skill again. So you get a free 3-time, like for 2 turns straight, you can spam this. Here's the catch. With the addition of Ruka, if you use Ruka's hit count buff at the time of this skill breaking, all other 2 times that the hit count buff exists, you can build the DR rate to basically max by yourself. It is actually very potent if she can do her job. But are you ever going to use her for a ice team? No. You'll never use her for an ice team. But can you use her for an ice team? Yes. So, where does she house herself? Utility-wise, can give you a good amount of OD, because, well, AoE, if you're hitting AoE. Thing is 3 hit count, you have 5 hit count, plus 3 if on all of them, so this is about, this is 8, this is 6. It's not that bad. It's free SP. It's a large amount of OD on AoE content. So she kind of like sits in the same boat as Yuina, SS2, but she's just like a better breaker. Like she could just break. She's like Yuina 2, but can break. Like I don't know, just really hard to use. Yeah. Um, so, just a quick note. Yeah, I don't think she's incredibly strong in the strong category, but I don't think she's just viable. She's just not great to feel, right? Remember, this list, if you are within 7 and up, it's actually not that bad to bring them. It actually feels good to bring them. She doesn't really feel that good to bring. So, there's that. Then we have Akari 3. This one, I think I'm just going to be provisional, to be honest. Mostly because I don't have her. Red doesn't have her. Red would love to try to use her. Because she is interesting.
In 5 turns, I would love to try and use her.
Yeah. Hey, imagine trying to pop this during those 5 turns. Yeah. Can you imagine that? Oh boy.
Double up on debuffs.
So yeah. So there. Anyways, there's that. She is incredibly fun. She is a breaker with decent destruction. 3 is actually pretty high for destruction, and she comes with an interesting mechanic of being able to build OD incredibly well. 4 hit count plus 5, so basically a 9 hit count plus the fact that she can dispel, and the damage potency is pretty high. Actually, the DR rate is even higher when she does. So, if you're wondering what this says up here, this says that if you have the negative mind debuff or not. So, to break her down, it says 16 cost, and this is how much the potency is. But you have to remember your damage is reduced by 100%, so this deals 0 damage. It's like 1 damage, but you still get some OD from it. However, after 5 turns, this not only breaks, but also has a DR rate of 18, which is incredibly high for an AoE skill. It also, you also have the luckiness of having this, which means that the potency is increased by 100%, and that can stack with other hit count buffs. So this automatically, without any hit count buffs, is already at 36, which is the highest in the game. Like, she naturally has the highest in the game in terms of DR rate from just using the skill alone. Like, not counting Adele being able to funnel, none of that. Literally just using this by itself. You add funnel on top of that and everything, she has one of the highest numbers in DR, while being a breaker. So, she is a breaker who can do that. If the enemy buffs, you can also get OD. So, not only do you get OD from the amount of hits she has, which is 9, plus how many enemies there are. If the enemy has a buff, all of a sudden you're getting like like 1-2 like OD2 or something off of it by itself. Is incredibly potent. Is she good? Here's the thing. I feel like you actually have to pair her with with Lisa, or you have to wait until turn 5. Does that hurt her in the long run? Here's the thing. There is very little space here for utility now. It is very full. I'll actually have to shift some characters up or down to make a spot for her. I actually think, I'm gonna place Yuki up here. What do you think, Red? Give a spot for Akari 3 I actually think Akari 3 deserves to be around this spot here.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there.
And
I'm
I
just
think
trying to
Yuki
think
is
of
the one that
this voting.
that deserves the spot here. I think because Fubuki is kind of like a one trick, one click wonder.
It's a
Well,
really
Yuki
good
is
click,
consistently
though.
better. It is a very good click, but like
It's a
Yuki
very good
is
click.
also very good for multiple clicks, and for
Yeah.
a different reason too. But the real question is, where would I put Akari 3? Because are we going to assume that when I place her on here, that Lisa exists, or am I supposed to assume that she doesn't? But 5 turns also isn't too long
No,
in
it's not
SA,
terrible.
because 5 turns can include OD and extra turns if I'm not mistaken. So
I don't think it works with debuffs like that unless it was changed.
recoil works that way right now. They changed it for
Okay.
recoil. Yes, Risa 3 can remove Akari 3's penalty. Yes. They were on the same banner. It's literally the best banner to get both of them. Very good. But are they top tier stuff? Like, are you gonna put Akari 3 in a team? She's kind of gonna be your main damage dealer, but her damage numbers aren't exactly the best for HP, right? She's more so there for like DR and whatever. So she's kind of more of a utility side. I think I'll put her under strong, and then I'll bump up one of the ones that aren't strong right now. Which then I think it just leaves Waki to go up again. Yeah, I think it just leaves Waki to go up again. And then Akari 3 can fill up this spot. Hopefully I get Akari 3 so I can give you guys a more accurate reading of where she's supposed to be. But from my understanding of how she can be used and me watching other people use her and talking with a couple players who do have her, she's kind of fills up this slot. Like, it's viable to use, but and very strong. But the other fire users are much stronger and much more potent to use. So yeah, there we go. Now for DR. Granted, there is a good amount of overlap between over here and over here. For the most part, DR users, because of Ruka existing, they kind of still say the same. Even then, they still say the same spot. I feel like blasters have gotten the biggest hit out of Ruka existing. Red, you think you can agree with me? I think out of all the groups, blasters got the short end of the stick.
Because now they have to compete with the best unit in the game.
Yeah, they have to compete with Ruka 7, not Ruka 7, Ruka 5, which could it might as well be 7, dude. Dude. Because she could just blast her way up too. So I'm just gonna keep him here for now. I might converse a little bit with Kappa and see what he thinks on some of these. By the way, guys, on stream, some of these things may change after stream. That has a lot to do with like me talking with Kappa and Rem a little bit more, or KSW, and then having their input on like why we should move certain characters. So if our ideas are a bit too different, and then we talk about how both sides are valid, and we'll work off of that. But yeah, so that's kind of the current aspect. I think we're done with our utility guys and DR, because DR sadness, and Admiral Aoi, and Ruka 5. I think Admiral Aoi still can stay here. I think you can agree with me. I think she can still stay here. Definitely Ruka 5 is... Diva is better in terms of offensive and more like useful overall, but you can't argue that Aoi's just as good.
Yeah, not until we have another admiral to compare her to, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have a better idea of what her relative strength is.
Yep. Now to damage dealers, where a lot of things have changed. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. You'll only go single target, and then we'll go only AoE. So single target, Irene and Sumomo. Um, Irene used to be, in my opinion, a little bit better than Sumomo. With the changes, with with our greatest friend Diva, Sumomo is clearly better than Irene now. I think there's no denying it. I'm pretty sure Sumomo is just straight up better. Irene only was better in the regard of she had 100% more weakness potency or whatever, but the fact that sure this is LB1 instead of LB3, but the extra what's it called again? The extra enhance allowing her to break earlier is just better. Straight up. So I will move the two to be slightly, just swapping them. For those wondering how the Irene meta moves around elemental is relatively the same as how it was before. So the damage cap of Irene meta is just not as high as the damage cap of elemental. It's just the main difference you have to understand is that they can hit every enemy for weakness, which means that it doesn't matter who the enemy is, they can make it happen. The reason why they're high up is because they're basically in the same branch as these, right? That's why over here, if you saw the pull recommendations, right? There is no damage dealer down here for them, because their overwrite apply or essentiality for the comp is literally just them. Like, they themselves are it, right? So if you don't have them, it's worthless. And that's why they're up there in the comp, right? In the tier list. It's not necessarily that they're actually better, but in a vacuum, if you were to use them, they are strictly better because they can do the overwrite themselves. Just that the supports you can bring with them are much weaker, right? And that's what you should understand, is that their supports are just much weaker. Now, we're going to go down the list and talk about how some of these girls got changed. Namely, Adele. So, Adele has only been able to improve... it's only been able to do one thing. Be in a world where you don't need to have Ruka on your team for max potency. However, before, when her max potency was having the 240% increase of hit count damage, while everyone else only had the 100%, or if they had one of the 120%, they'd be at 170% instead of 240%. Yeah, Adele just doesn't do enough anymore. Her only benefit nowadays is she can kill from DP, which means that you just have to do a full cycle of buffs one time, and boom, explode the enemy. They're dead. That's it. The end. That's it. That's all you got. But the main issue comes in is that everyone else, sure, they take 2 ults to kill, but they also deal a lot more damage. So there is a major trade-off, and I can't actually say that Adele deserves a spot of rank 8 anymore, and they actually kind of fall down to the rank of rank 7. Granted, they are able to actually buff themselves without having to worry about Ruka, but this tier list, this new one, is literally based off the fact that you do have Ruka 5, right? Ruka 5 is in your team. Diva is there. They don't get the benefit. So sadly, at the very least, they do drop to a tier 7 position. She doesn't exist anymore. Strictly speaking, this Ruka doesn't exist anymore. Her damage potency is not even as high as anyone else's. She is still viable, but Onion Ruka, I like to call Unisons onions because whenever I typed them for Discord when they first came out, it always autocorrected Unison to onion. So Onion Ruka has been demoted. And it is very sad to see because her ult is one of the most fun ones to watch. I love watching it. It's great. But sadly, she is just viable. She's not bad. She's very viable. But she's missing out on so much potency. It's not even funny. It's really sad to see. And that's pretty much it. By the way, I'm just gonna, instead of going down the list, I am gonna be zooming around. Just giving a heads up. This is mostly saying, oh, here are the ones that got the most changes and where it matters the most, okay? Chia's one of her benefits used to be that she was just like Adele. She can give herself the hit count buff. That power is not existent anymore. She also gets diminished. I'm going to place her for now right here, okay? At least one tier under. It's just not there anymore. Why damage dealer relegated to buffer anyway? I mean, you have to realize that the better damage dealers you'll notice are the ones who can buff themselves. Or who are self-sufficient. And so, you can fill in the gaps that your own supports cannot buff you with. So, for instance, you bring a dark team, but you're missing out on dark crit damage. If you bring a character with dark crit damage buffs, then all of a sudden that character is much higher on the tier list because the optimal team requires you to, does not offer you dark crit damage. Therefore, a dark crit damage dealer all of a sudden hits the limelight. Right, that's how all this rotation of what's the best damage dealer basically comes in. Next is Kanade 2. She literally went from not viable with Ruka's existence, with Diva's existence, has skyrocketed to one of the highest potency damage dealers in the game, and actually not hard to use anymore. It's incredible. She actually deserves a spot within tier 8. She jumped from, non-existent to tier 8. Now remember, you are required to have Kanade 1, right? You have to have Kanade 1, or else Kanade 2 is just not viable, right? Without Kanade 1, she still will sit right here. With Kanade 1, Kanade 2 actually is one of the top damage dealers out there. Period. And it's not a competition, right? I will, for now, add Fubuki to the list, right? This isn't necessarily in order. I'm just placing them within where their respective area is, okay? That's where she deserves. It's incredible damage. They're both really high. Very strong. Muddy 3. Funny note. Muddy 3 is one of the ones who has really high damage potencies. She used to be super high up there, mostly because she actually gave herself one stack of funnel, strong funnel. in fact. And you would think with the addition of Ruka 5, she should get downgraded because she like loses out on her prowess. It's actually not true. Her prowess is even stronger because she gets another stack of 120, and because her damage numbers were already really high to begin with. She gives her own self field anyways. So just like how the Irene meta is great because they buff themselves, Mari can just give herself fields. She can break the enemy with that. And now that Ruka 5 exists, it's easy to get her condition, which is 200% SP. Not SP, I mean DR. Which makes it so then you can actually hit what she needs to get all of her damage increase and everything. So she's still high in the upper 8s. Which isn't crazy. So she's still up there. By the way, Red, I have a question.
Yep.
Outside of Sumomo, who have you been using for damage? Funny. I like that
since
one.
getting Diva Ruka, only Sumomo.
Oh no! You need to test out some of these scrolls, man.
What? There's also, like been score attacks since then.
True.
Let's see what comes up.
You should try some. It's actually kind of fun. I mean, like especially if there is one where it goes under a element that you actually have some strengths in. But yeah, Muddy 3 is really really good right now. Granted, mine is LB1. I mean LB0, so she feels kind of bad because she just kind of pops like a balloon. But when I get the chance to use her, she's actually really good. Other changes. Another change would be the fact that let's see, where is it? Akari loses out on her on funnel because she because Ruka can give it to her instead. Does it make her weaker? Kinda. I don't really see a use for her as much anymore, and so I actually don't think she's that viable anymore. Who has stepped in the limelight, in fact, is Maria. I actually think Maria is at least viable now. You can, even though you have low stacks, because you won't get to 10 very easily at LB0, I mean LB1, you'll still be able to deal good damage because token plus funnel, that is large funnel, is always going to be extremely potent. So she definitely deserves a spot within viable. So, yeah, there's that. Now, how viable? I, in fact, would at least put her higher than, as high as Ichigo, because Ichigo is kind of bad. I think Red can agree with that.
She's one of those funnel characters that just kind of got obliterated by Ruka, giving the best funnel in the game for such a cheap cost.
Yeah, so, we're just going to leave them here like that, right? Another change that has occurred is that you have to understand that, remember, Sumomo 3 is up here. Sadly, Sumomo 1 is down here. LB3 things are a little bit different, but only for Sumomo 3, because Sumomo 3 can abuse Sumomo 1 at LB3. Just a random funny note. Seda 3. If you've watched some of my streams that I have done on Discords and stuff, sadly it's not on YouTube. I do have a recording. I could post on YouTube. I just didn't feel like it. I have used Zeta 3, have gotten like 2 mil and everything with her. She's actually not that clunky to use, not that hard to use. Her damage potential is actually not that bad. After using her and everything, I don't actually think she deserves this spot anymore. I think she definitely deserves a higher than viable. Is she the best and the most goated thing ever? No, definitely not. She's far from it, but she is still very strong. She's just clunky to use because you have to wait for the boss to do like a large AoE hit that's gonna like basically nearly kill her. and then you can use your damage the turn after. So a little clunky to use, but still very good. The stronger she is, the harder it is to technically use her, because, well, she's more tanky, so she takes less damage. It's kind of a weird boat to be in. The other girls here. How strong is Kanade now? I would consider Kanade very strong. I would also consider Yuina very strong. The issue with trying to rate these is we're to assume they have all their skills and stuff. I'm going to assume here that we're talking about using Yuina SS1 on Yuina SS4, or else I have to kind of bring Yuina SS4 up here. Very strong right now. Incredibly strong, because you can easily abuse her hit count stuff with Nuka. She deserves top echelon tier in terms of tier 8. Kanade can't really do the same thing, but she can give herself Mind's Eye. So Kanade also is in higher echelons. As you can see, this is why I did not update the tier list for a while in JP. There is a lot of movement here, and it takes a lot of time. I had exams coming up, and it's just hard, because I have to also test all these girls too. Sure, I can punch it on a calculator and see how it looks, but it's not the same, because you have to know if it's actually viable strat to use them this way. You can't just like form up a team and be like, oh yeah, max damage potency is them, therefore they're good. For instance, Monaka 1 has always had one of the highest damage potencies for Dark. In fact, I think it was the highest. It's just very hard to use comparatively to the other ones. Like, she has higher potencies than like single target Darks. It's just that you have to build the team. There's a lot of nuances around that. That's why she's not rated as high as Yuino, which can actually do that, right? So just giving a heads up on how this works and everything. Yuri. I think Yuri's still within the strong tier. Remember, everyone has been pushed up a tier, right? Like, down here, Ruka, okay? She technically is still here when Diva doesn't exist, okay? I'm just noting that this is how much stronger everyone got with the addition of Diva. So just imagine this is where tier 8 used to be. This viable line is where tier 8 used to be. That's where tier 8 used to be before Diva. This is how much stronger everyone got. It's that big of a difference, guys. It's like night and day. It's not even funny. If you tell one of us to try to not use Diva anymore, yeah, we would just laugh at you and tell you that you should go home, and we don't want to talk to you because she's that strong. Lynn, do you have Diva, right? Actually, don't know. Lynn, do you have Diva? I don't know if you're still there. Yeah. Would you ever consider not using her? By any circumstance. I'm just asking. Would you ever consider not using her? Outside of using Adele. Okay, outside of using Adele, and I guess Chia. Would you ever consider? Probably not, exactly. So, that's just how powerful. By the way, Lynn is not talking. Lynn is typing in a Discord, so just giving a heads up. It's kind of addicting, yeah. The amount of power trip you get is so addicting. It's not even funny. Now, this Ruka, Suit Ruka, is now not viable, right? And I am going under the assumption. Actually, you know what? I think it's more viable if I just read it like this, right? Here we go. Regular Ruka goes down here. And then we'll just slide Diva into damage. You think I should do it this way, Red? Just slide her like this, like this. This is fine, right? Like
Oh yeah, she's definitely damage dealer.
I mean, technically, it is Duka 1's damage, but it's on Duka 5.
Yeah, on a much better style that can use the ultimate much better. More strong.
It's so powerful. Of course, I'm going to be moving them around again. This is just giving you an arbitrary picture so far of where everyone's gotten, really, right? Inori probably isn't as strong as she is anymore. Definitely a little bit lower. And these three, I think, should go a little higher. And yeah, there's a lot of movement, so this is why we delayed these. Let's see what else is there. These girls definitely don't change. Sadness. And I think within these groups, everyone has can kind of intermingle a little bit and kind of move around a little bit overall. Out of these damage dealers, if you're wondering which one is the best one in terms of damage, okay, Yuki needs to go down, by the way. I forgot. She needs to go down here. Yuki also downgrades. If you're wondering why Yuki goes down, it's because she does not have an HP modifier or anything that will like further increase her damage. Sure, she has hacking and can bring herself fragile, but the main issue is that most likely you won't be able to utilize those debuffs for your debuffers if she's your main damage dealer, and that's the main issue that she has. So she is on the lower end now because of that. Is she still good? She is definitely very, very good. Okay. What else is there? Am I missing anyone overall? I think this is pretty much it. If you're wondering, versus Muddy 4 and UD1, my personal preference is actually UD1 over Muddy 4. However, is that enough for me to bump her up into these higher echelon? It probably actually is. Yeah, I think this is it. Right? So let's take a look. Here's a real question, Red.
Yep.
Do you think it's more viable, because of what I did with Duka 5 here, to move this Yuina actually in this spot and move this one as if we don't have this one's ult? Because of what we did with Duka, to stay consistent.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Then I will move this Yuina to where she deserves otherwise, which is right here. And this Yuina to be right here. Right? And then maybe in slot here, I just like that. I think this makes most sense. What do you think?
Yeah, you could also change the background color if you wanted to illustrate it in a specific way. Like turn Yuina into light or Ruka to fire, even though that's not their respective elements.
Wait, actually, I have a better
Just
idea.
that they're being used as a damage dealer for
No.
that element.
Why not just make it so this section is red? Like not the same red, but slightly different, like that. And then this will be like slightly more gray.
To show generalization or
Yep.
introjection or whatever.
Maybe make it a little bit more gray. Let's see. By the way, those in YouTube chat, also in Discord chat, if you think this is a viable way to reflect this, please let me know. If you guys think it's a little too confusing and there's a better way of doing it, please feel free to just say so. I'm not gonna be hurt. I would rather you guys understand what you're looking at than not, because this is for your guys' sake. This is not for me. I don't really care about this. So please talk up if this is a viable way to show where the power or the damage is actually coming from for them to be part of this tier list. But yeah, so anyways, moving on. I think this is quite fine overall. Yeah. We can move who we think should be where they should be, which is let's see. I think this Ruka should be let's see, wait. There we go. I think this is it. Does that do justice? What do you think? There we go.
Yep.
So Ruka is at the top of 8, then Fubuki, Aoi, Kanade, because of the amount of utility. This is based off of how much utility and damage. They're kind of weighed about the same, but like how much it reflects on how much you expect to get out of them, right? For Mari and Yuina, this is pretty much it. Kanade and Yuri, yeah, this is fine. So there we go. Now for this bottom side, I mean not bottom, but the strong side, Yuki and Mari are still up here. I think Mari is better than Yuki for this job. For sure. And Ichigo, Yuina. I think this is fine as it is in this order. As for over here, I think you have more. Yeah, I think this is fine. Yeah, I think I did a pretty good job here on noting these ones. These ones we can just leave here like this. This is fine. And no one else really had to move. Man, we're zooming. This is great. So, AoE. Oh, I don't think we need these 2 rows anymore. Huh? Clear. Okay, so for AoEs, we have Inori, Irene, and all these girls, right? So the bottom really didn't get to change. They didn't really get much of a boost. The top is kind of where you'll see where things kind of changed up. Nina, funny enough, has gotten kind of buffed in a way because her condition was getting 200 DR on the enemy to actually be useful. And Ruka can actually help with that and make it actually happen, when before it was incredibly hard to make it happen. So Nina actually proves herself to be in this higher realm, if anything. Maria also gets a deserve to go in a higher realm. She's not just token, but she also... In fact, Nina gets to go next to Yuki here. There's no way she's that low anymore. Maria also gets to go higher. This is mostly due to the fact that she can have survivability. You know her skill that deals. Let's see. So like Maria has this skill, so you can have your more token as well as heal, right? And if you wanted to use her her skills for stuff, for healing, like it will decrease her DP, but she also can heal herself. Of course, this DP consumption will be after her attack damage, but it's just the mere fact that Ruka 5 exists that you can kind of make use of Maria more so. A lot to do with the fact that she can actually sustain and help that. There's a lot going for her right now in that aspect. Ruka is just for hit count at this point an OG generation. Um, Probably, I mean, she actually has lower damage than Nina. I'm probably gonna lower these two from where they are. Mona actually is much higher on this scale nowadays, but I will put her on the side here as we move everyone where they should respectively be moved. Sorry, I'm just kind of brazing over this. It's just kind of just how these characters are right now. Kanen 3. So her main thing. Here we go. The major changes. I will kind of bring up their skill set. She comes with the funnel. The problem with this funnel is that it doesn't stack with Diva, and therefore you just kind of lose out on this. So while everyone else got an actual massive increase in damage, Kanan really didn't. She has the same problem that Adele did, but doesn't have the same prowess and the same like ability. She can't give herself double stacks. Unlike Muddy, she doesn't actually have high potency numbers to start off with. It's not like it gets better if she's hitting weakness or anything. So she sadly has kind of dropped off. Quite so. I can't really put her in the same place as Adele, so I'm kind of placing her in a slightly lower region due to that. And I think that is pretty generous of me too. I think she even goes even lower than that as of now and as of current days, which is unfortunate to see. Ichigo 2 also got a massive hit because she used to be able to give herself the funnels and everything, so that's why she was up here. Her damage numbers actually aren't the greatest thing in the world, if I remember correctly, but the mere fact, yeah, they're not that crazy. In fact, they're pretty low. The main fact is that she can actually give herself these high potency, which is what made her good in the first place. And she can give herself an enhance, and as well as that, like the other hit count buff. Now that's not much of a thing. The only thing she gets out of it is she has the fire hit count buff, right? I mean, not hit count, the fire buff from her passive, and that's pretty much it. Is she still the best fire AoE? Yes, she's still better than Minori is. Mostly due to the fact that she can just buff herself like this.
Is she better than Akari, though?
Is she better than Akari? Yeah, because she has the HP, let's call it again, the HP potency.
But Akari has the hit count buff that stacks with Ruka's, and it's 100%.
True. You know what? You make a good point, Red. Akari actually just might be better. Man, Ichigo fell, man. This feels bad. Ichigo really just does feel bad. She at least drops the strong. We did take Akari off. In fact, Akari should get on, because apparently, damn, she actually does get a buff. It's not that huge, but it's just big enough. She also has more more counters and stuff. So there's that. And if you're wondering, Mona actually should house herself within this top area nowadays. She's gotten the most buff out of all of them because she can now easily break. She can easily get all the tokens she needs really fast, really easily with the extra SP that Ruka gives. She can be safe in the front because she'll auto attack and still gain a bunch of damage. A bunch of DP back because of her damage. So overall, Diva actually kind of stabilized Mona 1, which is like not just Mona 1 being put into Mona 2. No. Straight up just Mona 1. Which is crazy because if you actually look at Mona 1, um, she's kind of bare bones. She's very bare bones. Um, she just has this token thing going on. She doesn't even have what's it called again? An HP modifier, but it goes to level 13, and she has as much damage potency basically as like the single targets that don't have they're also single target. Like let's bring up here, just put token. Actually, not token. Let's put Aoi here, right? So if you notice here, at level, like sure, at level 10, she's definitely higher. But level 1, it's like the same as like the level 10 of Mona. Like Mona's just really powerful in those terms. Does she deserve a spot like up here? No, but I do believe that she kind of deserves a spot up here. She's just come a long way because the meta actually just went around her rather than she went around the meta. So yeah, just note that she is now strong, but you really need a team around her, or else she's not that great. So there we go. Misato, Nikaido, you would think that she gets the most hit from this as well, because she also has the hit count buff, but actually because she is conditional, her damage numbers are actually, as you can see, very high, and so her AoE damage is actually very high. She has very high very high HP modifier, but that's because you have to use this skill during OD, and you can't use it when it's not OD. So those characters who have this thing outside of her SS1, which is very sad, it gives a lot of boost, right? In this case, I guess it doesn't matter too much anymore because you don't have this hit count buff anymore. I'm just like checking. I don't remember all the stuff. The DR rate goes up a little bit. Wow. Okay. I haven't used her in a long time, but she's very good for looping. Very good for stuff. She still houses so much damage that you kind of still keep her up here, towards the top. The main reason behind that is she can give herself ice attack up. She can give herself regular attack up. Like, she's just very, very self-sufficient and can do a lot of damage because of that. And so she's still going to be in this higher echelon of damage dealers, and I don't think anyone could argue that she doesn't deserve that spot when she can just buff herself, kill the enemy by herself nowadays. Yuina 3 has benefited a lot. In fact, I think she's one of the ones who benefited like in high regards, like top 5 ones who got out of this from Ruka. The main issue is that you her main issue nowadays is that you are forced to only use her extra turn, I think, one time. No, actually, no. You know, you're fine. You just have to be very wary of extra turn and turn count buffs, just like Mona has to worry about that. So she'll still stay in this region. So does Waki. Waki, her main concern is that Thunder comps don't really have Thunder attack up, and she can provide that for herself. So overall, these girls don't change too much. I think they kind of fit in the boat. Everyone else kind of had a huge swing in motion in where they kind of fit. In fact, Carol, I think, should deserve a step higher nowadays due to the changes. Just because she does have the ability of spamming a 4 SP 3 hit and you can easily spam that with if you're doing AoE content with Ruka, and just gain so much OD. It's not even funny. So she's at least viable, but her damage is still lacking. But because she has that viability, she's just very potent, right? Um, there we go. So that's our AoE. In the bottom bracket. What?
Hisame's not moving.
Hisame?
Yeah.
I mean,
Potency-wise, she's the same as Yuina.
yeah.
For one SP keeper.
But her main issue is that she needs charge and she doesn't get the crit damage. Right? It's
Give self charge. But she also has a 4 SP AoE skill that she can spam for overdrive.
okay. You know what? Fine. I'll bring her up. I didn't realize she also had that.
Wait, it's 5 SP. Yeah, close enough.
That's close enough.
It's only 2 hits too, but you still get the overdrive.
It's still fine, but
Basically the same.
it's still like slightly more variable. She's cute. Bump her up. Oh my god, no, that's not how it works. Okay, now you're gonna wonder, oh, what about this top area? I haven't gone there yet. It's fine. Um, the one who got the most benefit out of this. So, by the way, sadly, Yuina did not get the most benefit, but she still sticks this spot because of how much support she gives. Sadly, she doesn't get the benefit of her hit count buff anymore, so she doesn't really get to move. But also, she doesn't really go under any of these girls anyways, including herself, I guess. Inori, on the other hand, oh man, she just got better. Red, have you ever used Inori too?
I don't have her at all.
Oh, you don't have her. Oh no. I'm just gonna say.
I could use Irene instead though. So.
I'm just saying, she's just a step above Irene, and honestly, due to the fact of her HP mod and everything that's been coming, and the difference in sheer strength of Ruka, because remember, before she was only tied with Irene, because Irene has a better Yun buff, okay? It's like in the middle of the pack. Inori now has access to to Adele. The Adele buff using Ruka. So she's just so stupidly strong. All collab character get indirectly buffed now. She's just Sumomo but AoE. She is, but in fact she's better because her potency is just so high. She's just beyond stupid now. Because of Ruka. In fact, it's funny because she is not a must pull. When Ian gets her, she'll be on the nerfed version. I think most likely it'll be so painful because you know she's stupidly strong in the future, but you don't have the means of pulling her and saying yes, this is a good idea. When it'll take like over a year, if not EOS, before she's useful. It's just not a viable strat. But you just pray to get her along the lines, so like if there's ever like a wish list or a selector, yeah, she's the one you get.
Get her later when she's good, rather than now when she's not.
So when her banner comes, do not pull for Inori 2. Just get her on a like if you're a spender at least on the it's on the selector. Just get a selector when selectors are available and just buy her. That's my recommendation. Yeah, that's all I recommend. If you're wondering if I did that, I'm just saying that most people when Inori first came out was the second selector we've ever gotten. And yeah, people just chose her because she was stupidly strong. Choose like the highest choice. What about free to play? Yeah, good luck. That's all I'm gonna say. I would say $20 for a selector is worth it for a free to play. And what I mean by that is you're not free to play anymore, but it's worth it. That's what it means.
Free to play just uses Irene and they're happy about it because Irene is also very good.
Yeah, or you could do that
Don't worry
too.
about it.
You could also not worry about use Irate. It's very
You're still
good
beating everything. Why does it matter if you're beating everything like twice over?
because it's better.
Because it gives you 2 million in score attack instead of
Yep.
1.8 million.
Exactly. That's why.
Even though rewards cap at 1 million, I guess.
Hey, come on, man. I mean, to be honest, if you're wondering, this viable line is noting to you what can net you that 1 million score easily. Okay, I'm letting you know that right now. This viable line is what nets you 1 million score easily, and anything above it, there's no way you can not hit 1 million unless you don't have the gear or you're just not trying to do the more advanced stuff or your limit breaks are less than 1, right? If your limit break's less than 1, of course you can't get 1 million. That's fine. If they're 1, then you should be able to get 1 million. But yeah, that's just the markers. Inori 2, the why she is so regarded so highly is not only can she hit weakness for everything, as long as she has charge, by the way, as long as she has charge. It costs 18 SP, which is very hefty, but that allows her multiplier to be as high as a single target, if not better than a single target, at level 1. And it goes to level 10. So she has one of the highest potencies in the game by herself. As an AoE. She even beats out like single targets. The only way she has lower potencies is when she's comparing herself with those who have like tokens, or those who have like the lower HP you are, lower DP you are, the more damage you deal, right? Outside of that, she's just straight up better. Charge also gives you that extra boost, very minimal, but hey, at least it's something, right? So just note that, just very potent. If you want easy 1 million scores, she's the way to go when she gets her buff. But that's when she gets her buff. You want to preserve your free to play. You know what that means? Just luck sack. That's what it means. What can I say? Just luck sack. So yeah. So here's the tier list. The changes. Inori is one of the biggest winners of this, for sure. So are the Monas. The Monas are just they're just so good right now. It's not even a question. They have further improved other characters' damage. However, some characters like Ichigo and Kanen has suffered from the mere fact that she exists, because now they're like what made them good is now available for everyone. So yeah, that's the tier list. I don't think anyone needs to really be changed outside of that. I think everyone's in a good, comfy spot. But if there are changes, I will note them. They are there because I have talked to other JP players, and they have put their thoughts in. They can't make the stream today, so they're not here. But like, I'll get their input later on, and they always look at my tier list and stuff. What?
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's why you're here, for another thoughts. Because if it's just me, then that's not a reliable tier list. Let's be honest. It's best to have more brains who have different viewpoints on where they come from. So like, Red is much more free to play than I am. I am a mid spender. Red is like a light spender, and
yes, let's call it that.
I mean,
makes me feel better about it.
I mean, compared to me, you're a light spender. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, you know how much I spend. I don't spend like crazy amounts, but it's also not like light spending. It's definitely mid spending.
I'm more about spending on light.
On light units? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Same about mid spender. Hey, you will call yourself the same spender as Red when you hear how much I spend. Which is actually not much when you compare yourself to the people we know from our Discord. I'm talking about Rem. Don't tell him. The one who made the Seraph database. I know if he sees this, which he won't, he'll know the propaganda, but he a whale. If you're wondering why I say that, he owns 100% every single style in the game. He has 100% of the collection. So he is a big whale, in my opinion. I'm not even close to that, so we don't even count that. But yeah, so we are done with the tier list, and I will end the stream here. But I will actually not end the stream, but I'll leave the stream open for about like 5 more minutes. If you have any questions, and you want me to answer them, on the YouTube side. Of course, this stream ends on the YouTube side only. But if you want to ask something or like anything really about related to the game, let me ask away. I will answer to the best of my ability. I may not be the best person to answer, but you know, I'll do my best. Buck just tells everyone to pull better. Yeah, that'd be true. Are there JP players to follow on other platforms? Also, is there a Discord to join? Yeah, I mean, if you want to. So if you go to the Seraph database, right, and you see it says right here, join our Discord, right? Join our Discord. This is the Discord I'm also in. Red's also in there. So is Rem, who made this. So if there's Discord you want to join, come join us in there. Join the EN side if you're on EN. We Rem and I still look there. Red also looks in there. Of course, if you feel free to go to the official Yostar Discord, I stream there whenever I stream stuff, just because more exposure to people who want to see stuff. And then most of the time, the people who are in the other Discord, it's the unofficial. This is the unofficial, like, HBR Discord. Fans made it. Granted, I wasn't part of their early days. I think Red was.
Oh yeah, I've been there forever.
Yep. So Red's been there since like they've opened up. Not really like the day of, but probably like within the first couple months. And so he's been there forever. I'm been there since year 1, since that's when I started. But yeah, this is, if you want to join Discord, join there. We love the dead chat in that Discord. Very dead chat on the JP side, because we all know what's up. We don't have to worry too much. We've done all the talking, you know. The link expired? Really? Oh. Let's see.
We'll fix that.
It didn't expire. It opened on my end.
This could be because you're already in it.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, someone in the chat can answer that for me if it's expired, if they want to join that. If not, I can make a new one and post it into chat, so they can let me know if it is still available. But yeah, we have more people in that Discord who know about the game and stuff, so you can always feel free to ask questions there. Just note that you'll quickly find out who to listen to and who not to listen to. There are Link's good. Thanks, Gecko. There are people there that don't know what they're talking about. Um, and they have a loud mouth. But we it's whatever. The main thing you have to know is that there are a good amount of resources, a good amount of people who know what they're doing, talking about. You'll find them more so on the JP side than the EN chat, but you have to be careful on the JP side because, yeah, there's some spoilers on that side, so you don't really want to go there, like story spoilers. So you don't really want to go there. Um, so yeah, just figure out who's knowledgeable or not. Of course, I'm in there, so and Rem is in there, Red's in there, so it works for you. Good job. Feel free to join us there. We don't really, no one really streams there, but there's a lot of chatters, especially on the EN side. JP side's always dead. We always meme it, right, Red? Just dead chat.
Well, it's been a whole month of AB.
I
We'll
mean,
get back into business.
yeah, there's like nothing, like it comes back
There's
up.
nothing to do.
There's nothing to do. Yeah, every time there's like a big event thingy, then we have something.
Anniversary waiting room.
Anniversary waiting room for real though. But yeah, so yep, there it is. Our new one. On the top we have Duka and Aoi. Tier 9. Adele has surfaced. Mari has surfaced. Fubuki has 1 billion times surfaced to the top. And Lisa has emerged as she is new. This is, honestly, I'm going to write in here, provisional. she's, here's the thing. If there's no debuffs or stuff, she goes from here to, like, here. So, provisional.
She goes from like top tier to Risa tier.
Yeah, she goes from top tier to, oh, wait. Oh my god, you're so right. She goes from top tier to Nisa tier. Oh my god. You know what I should do? I should do this. And just say no debuff. There we go. So, provisional and no debuff. And people will question, what does that mean? Okay, so if you ever see anyone ask that, what does it mean? You can answer them. This just means that there's no debuffs from the enemies. And this one just means that, or allies, whatever. And this one just means, it's hard when you don't have. Okay, so Lisa's the only hard one to rate when you don't have her because she's so conditional that it's like I don't know how good she is when she is in the condition that she's supposed to be in. Because, like, why else when you use her, right? Just like how you can't really gauge how good Aoi is if you don't have her. You EN players, if you don't have her. Yeah, the difference between having her or not is pretty starking. You'll notice, especially in EN. So it's one of those ones. It's anything that's conditional of like how good it can be. Like for instance, if you only look at single target damage, Aoi kind of just feels mid, if not like sad and bad. There's a lot of AOE that has a lot of debuffs. You'll find Aoi to be very nice to have, especially in EN, right? JP side, it's not so important anymore, but like it used to be. Since no one's asking any questions, I think I'm just going to end stream here on the YouTube
There was
side.
one question about Yotsun and Megumin, if you saw that.
Oh, did I miss it?
On the YouTube side?
I did? Oh, if I have Yotsun 1, should I get Megumi 3? Since you're free to play, no. Straight up, if you are free to play, no. I do not recommend it. The reason behind that is Fire, you're kind of betting on the horse that you are going to be hitting, like hitting weakness for that to be relevant. And as a free to play, the most important thing is to always hit weakness. So if you look at how things are working out under my pull recommendations, if you're free to play, here's my personal recommendation. Okay, outside of these girls and grabbing them, right, and Tama, right, you start off on Thunder. Ignore this Megu, by the way. Just start off on Thunder. You want the old guard, right? Ignore this Tama as well, okay? So you just want Shadow. You want Aoi 1 and 2, right? And then you just want to have Yunyun. Ideally, you have Mua, right? If you don't, then oh well, it's fine. You have Tama, right? And then when Irene meta comes out, you just live on Irene meta for the rest of your life. Which means that you ideally want Kura. Now, you hopefully will get a copy of Kura by the time they run let's call it again, that Irene comes around. However, if I'm not mistaken, Kura can be am I right about this? Or Kura can Kura be selected from Conquest or no? Am I crazy?
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think so? Okay. So Kura, if you didn't get a copy of Kura, oh, you already have Kura and Mua? Okay, here's the thing. I recommend you personally, as for free to plays, right? Just because this is, like, sadly, sure, it's not your most waifu or whatever, but this allows you to get everything, right? And then whatever RNG gets you, you can run for fun whenever you have the chance. You're going to, you hopefully have enough quartz. By the way, Aoi 2 is coming out in what was it, in 2 weeks? Was it, guys, 2 weeks?
It's relative.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So she's coming out in 2 weeks. You pull on this banner. If sadly you have to pull the pity, LB1's good. Just LB1 her. The other choices are fine. If you really want to invest into the future, you could, I guess, grab Fubuki, but really that's up to you. I don't find that you need to have Fubuki, but if you want to. Aoi 2 before Megu 3, yeah, the reason behind that is you Thunder will then get Shadow. So the next banner you're actually aiming to pull on is the Shadow banner. Sure, you will see the Union 2 banner come out. Ignore it. She's not essential for the Thunder comp at all. Okay? Not essential. She's good, not essential. You just pull for Shadow, and you call it a day. You're done. Okay? And you're literally done. You don't have to pull another banner at all. Okay? You don't have to pull, like, if you don't care about unisons, you don't care about AB, ignore them. It's fine. Irene meta comes out. You get Irene. Okay? You get Irene. You already have Kura. You wait for her mastery skill to come out. You mastery skill her immediately. She's the first one you do. You ignore everyone else's mastery skills. She's the first one you do, because she will help you on the Irene meta, okay? And Irene meta will require you to go to Tama. So your next banners look like this, okay? You will go pull on Aoi. You get her. Okay? You get Shadow on your next banner. Like that's the next one you're going to pull for. And literally the next banner after Shadow will most likely be Tama. Okay? Suit Tama. You grab Suit Tama. Okay? And then you wait. You wait for the Irene banner to come out. And you get Irene. Okay? After you get Irene 2, you can ignore everything that comes out. until Aoi. You do not need Yuina. Okay, by the way, I know she's in this like you should get all of them, but if you're free to play, you don't need her. Um, in fact, Red, if you're on YouTube side, do you mind if you like just type in what you use for your Sumomo team, um, and like and give them a general idea on like who they're looking for? Because I don't run Irene comps ever because I hate them. They're not fun for me. They're just so boring. The only one I enjoy doing is Inori, and even then I don't run her. So, um, just noting that I recommend the path of you start Thunder, but the moment that Irene comes out, you just stay on Irene. There's no reason to not. That's my personal recommendation. Right? You have Yun Yun, you'll be fine. You have Tama, you'll be fine, right? If you have Mia, Mia will be good for that, but you also have a lot of choices like Isuzu, you have Maki, and you have Fubuki. Like these aren't like necessary by any means, but they're nice to have, right? For debuffers. But overall, you're going to be looking towards 2 weeks later, get Aoi, then like 3 or 4 months time, Shadow come out, and directly after that, Tama come out, and you get both of them. You will then promptly wait until Irene 2, get Irene 2. Wait for Mastery come out, you grab the Mastery. And then you have, you just wait for Admiral Aoi, and then you pull on Nuka Banner, and you call it yourself a day. You call it, you're done. For Thunder, Aoi, Shadow 3, Shadow 2, not 3. If you somehow have Tama 3, yes, you use her until Tama 5 is out. If you're free to play and you have Tama 3, I'd be impressed. I won't lie. If you have Mua and all that, and Yotsun, and then you also have Tama 3, I'm impressed, man. As a free to play, it's crazy. Okay, so Red has posted the Irene comp, right? That is what you're going to be looking for overall. Okay. Now, Mia 2 and Fubuki are not like required for you to pull. Okay. Those are just nice to have.
A few different debuffers you can use.
There's a lot of different ones you can use. You just need to know that the first 4 are basically required for the comp, okay? Is you need Irene 2, you need Sumomo 3, like either one of those is your damage dealer. You can also get Inori as well, but just depends. So you just need any of these 3, really. Okay.
Can I use Bungo Mastery skill?
You can, but please don't, because you can only use it once. I don't think it's viable because you can only use it once, dude.
But you can break with her regular EX skill.
No. Stop. Actually, stop, man. But yeah, you want Diva, you want Suit Tama, you want Kuda, okay? Like, those are basically requirements. Anything else? The other 2 spots are not.
You do need a debuffer, and ideally one who gives both fragile and defense down at an efficient rate.
True.
Which is why Mia and Fubuki are preferred. But there's other options like Maki. You can use Light Miko sometimes because she does both of those debuffs efficiently.
Can you use it? Wait, you mean the Flexor Healer?
For the debuffer slot. Oh.
No. Akin asked.
Oh yeah, you can
Can
definitely use
use
Admiral. That would...
2 with the Bungo. Okay, you know what?
Oh, and I actually don't know the answer to that. Is
I
it a max skill? I think you can't.
we can check actually. He changed how it looks, right? I don't I don't think so though.
And that's a problem that's never come up before.
No one cared enough,
It's a
dude.
brand new problem, yeah.
No one cared enough, dude. Um, you probably can actually. Here, because the skill list, if it is really just one time use or whatever, it will strictly say it with the bracket, right? So if you just type in Bungo, if there is no bracket, she can use it. Okay, it doesn't even show it for mastery skill. What the heck? Do we just have to ask? Do we just have to ask Rem? I think we have to ask Rem. Yeah, I think we actually have to ask Rem. Jeez. I can go ask Rem. Go at him. Go ask him for us. That's your job. Go do it. I'm giving you a job. Go do it. Okay, yeah, go DM him. Go annoy him. He's probably asleep. Go annoy him. But yeah, I am so happy today we have ended the stream early. That's great. Stream's been pretty long again.
Is Inori 3 good yet? She's better because of Diva Ruka, right?
Inori 3? Yeah, she is better.
She's one of the winners, yeah.
She's one of the winners. The main issue is that, like, all blasters are
Correct.
also losers. all blasters are also losers. And that's the issue. Is they may be winners, but they're also all losers. Okay. I think we need to... Let me do it like this. Just gonna... Come on. Just give a nice amount of room. And... paste it. Nice. Okay, we have our new list. And we'll now make this smaller again. And now provisional looks really hard to see. Let me make it smaller. I'll just say debuff. And it'll be no debuff. Is there even enough room for this? There is no room. My fire team are built since I have Ruka 1. Dude, for a free-to-play account, your team sounds stacked. God. You should still jump to Thunder. Because hitting weakness becomes super important.
Yep, you ideally want to build every single element.
Yep. So right now, it doesn't seem like, here. Right now, it doesn't seem like it's important. Now, let me show you why it becomes important. I'm actually making a video on that, just that I'm waiting for my new PC to work properly. It'll take me about a week and a half before that happens, and I will release a video on that. That's why, like, some people have asked me to make a video on like teaching things on how to play the game, whatnot. I'm letting you know right now, I can't actually make videos well because my current PC is 10 years old. It's very hard for this PC to do anything. So that's why I don't make those. LB3 differences are very Oh, you mean like between the current this and then over here? Um
Except Ruka is even better.
it's different. I would say the differences are there. I mean, like they are there, but some of them are more winners than others. Um in fact, like Sumomo I think is a grand winner here.
Kisame 4 is a pretty big winner too.
Yeah.
She
They're
gets to do some really silly stuff with Diva Ruka and her LB3.
Let's change this to today's date. And we are going to clear these. We don't need these anymore. Clear. We can't clear them? What the... I don't want to delete the cells. Okay. And then right here... but outdated. We'll do these lists later. We'll do these lists later. The previous list is on the previous version of the Tojo files, so I'll just deal with that later, I guess. If Irene is even skippable, depends. How fast they're going, or how fast they're willing, or how much they slow down. All of it matters, but I personally think you should start your entry at Irene, personally. Like as a free to play, I think so. Can you farm to pity in 2 weeks? I don't know. That's a good question. Don't clue.
Depends what content you have available still. If you have like a lot of recollections and bond stories, then it's definitely doable. But if you're caught up, then you don't have much to grind.
Then there's me, who's like half playing the game and half not. I need to really step up my game. Oh yeah, why hitting weakness is important. I forgot. I was gonna go over it. Let's go to Ian. Ian's side. Right, I was gonna talk about this. So score attacks. Biggest thing to note about score attacks, how they've been changing. So here's the natural change we expected, where high scoreboards only went up to 200. I expected the scores to inflate again, but not after 2 score attacks, which is a lot because
yeah, that was very fast.
That's not even a month, and they inflated again to 240, which makes me believe they wanted to go to 240, actually.
Maybe they just tested it on the Vertex Crimson attack and discovered that it was too hard without weakness.
I don't know.
I could see that. 240 on Vertex Crimson just being too overbearing.
Might be. But overall, I think that they are not going to increase at the same rate and just go straight to 400. I think they'll wait a little bit longer before going to 400. But as you can see, it will increase. I think by the time that, I think in about like 3 months, you'd expect it to already be hitting 400 by then. If you are trying to hit neutral on everything, You will still be able to hit 400 if you're hitting 120-35. You can. Just note that once you see JP side, not hitting weakness becomes more of an issue. Just go over to around this timing here. As the high score war goes up to 600, right? Why you care about platinum? Because it's there. It's cool. What do you mean? Always care about platinum. What do you mean? Platinum is the best. It's there. Now, I'll note this. We want to get to this 600 fast because we want this. Okay? Puzzle pieces. SS puzzle pieces. We want them. Account brick if you miss one plat trophy. That's wrong. Account is not bricked. But
yeah, why stop at platinum trophies? Count every single trophy, even from the first score challenge.
Yeah, count all. Dude, that means my account's bricked. What the? My EN account's
bricked. There was like
bricked.
3 days to do it. And get the trophy.
Yeah, I didn't have 3 days to like. I was writing Tojo files for like 2 weeks, and then I finally got to start playing the game. Come on, man. Here we go. 26. Just keep it there. But yeah, so there you go. That's all there is to it. I think I'm gonna end the stream on YouTube side now. Thanks for joining and enjoying the tier list. I will update the other ones later. If red is available next week, I might try to push it out, but then after that, I will have exams and stuff. So I will wait until my exam stuff is over before I even attempt to do another one. So it depends on red's
try to
opening.
Do it next week. Won't that be roughly the exact same time new styles are supposed to get released?
New styles yes. Get released in JP,
exactly
yes.
1 week from now.
That is true. It is.
It'll be hard to I might be free. We'll see. If it's later in the day, I should be fine.
I mean, it's gonna be at the same time again, if that's possible.
Yeah, that should work.
Yeah. Anyways, I will head off from YouTube side and see if there's anything chill to do on on Discord side, and then just probably pass out. I'm too tired, so.
Right. I'm gonna head off